Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Wednesday Night Motorsport at the GSRC. We've had our 2-week break, and didn't that feel so very long? Really glad to be back, and we will start off with the NASCAR trucks, which are now not the NASCAR trucks. They are instead I'm completely blanking on the name. They are the ARCA. Thank you. I had ARCA in my head. I was like, not ARCA, it's something else. ARCA. NASCAR ARCA, which is an easier to control car. It's a little bit less lively in the tail end, so we should see slightly cleaner races, but it allows for very, very close battling. The same battle packs that became a key feature of this series last year will be here once again. And then later on tonight, we'll be following it up with the supercars. Yet again, we're expecting very healthy grids in that, just like we had for the majority of last season. And your commentary team remains the same. I'm Liam Banks, doing the production and providing commentary. Alongside me is Daniel Saar. These are your track conditions today. We have a 3.22 kilometer track, so it won't quite be flat out. There will be lifting into some of these corners. The track conditions are pretty much perfect. It is a little bit hot, and so we might see that track temperature just ramp up over the course of the race, and that means the grip levels are going to change. And the key thing to look out for, other than that, is of course the life in the tyres. We've seen that in previous rounds. People that have made a late stop to get on fresh rubber when others have not have been able to benefit massively, as long as they have the skill to safely navigate the pack. So that will be the key factor to watch out for when it comes to strategy. And the other unknown is that we have a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde thing going in this NASCAR series. For those of you that weren't watching last season, we had races where there's been basically no stoppages, and it's been flag to flag, and they've been absolutely fantastic. And then we've had other races where we've maybe done a quarter of the laps because we've had safety car after safety car, and we're yet to know whether tonight we will see Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. Key thing tonight is that so far the championship winner from last season, Trent Labus, is not in the server. So there's no obvious favourite going into this, and that is typified by the fact that Gary Cousins is currently looking at pole position, with Andrew Dyson in second, Adam Labus in third, with only a few seconds left of qualifying. Thankfully, they're quite short laps, so a lot of people get 1 or 2 more laps in. So do not count that order on the left of your screen being the final order once we get this one underway. And that is qualifying over. We'll get you the official starting grid once we can. And just to confirm for you, the format for tonight is a single 25-minute race in the NASCAR trucks, and there will be a single race in the NASCAR trucks, and then it'll be a standard round in the supercars, I believe. And this is just on a grid. We have Gary Cousins in first place with Andrew Dyson alongside him. Then we have Adam Labus at the head of the second row with Baldwin alongside him. Mookie and Feely make up the third row with Malcolm in ninth, their nearest challengers. Then we have Snadden in ninth and Phil Otto in 10th. In 11th place is Matt Schmidt-Key, and alongside him is Tyson Broad. We then have Clark in 5th on the 7th row, with Coutran in 15th and Connors in 16th. Benici starts 17th for Sam Stride alongside him. Then Nicholas Garriok and Tristan Koch make up the top 20. Next is Latta in 21st with Bullock in 22nd. Then we have King and Matson, Wood and Coolbrough in 23rd, 24th, 25th and 26th. Barnes is in 27th with Zamora in 28th. Then we have Blacklock and Anastakis at the back of the top 30. In 31st is David Lawler with Goff Colgan in 32nd. Then we have Jordison and Hoppet, Normanson and Jaden Green at the back of the field. As always, it'll be a rolling start, so we're just waiting for the safety car to get us underway right now. The drivers will be receiving their briefings from the race control, if there is a race control in the house, and I can confirm for you that there will be no live race control tonight. So any drivers that wish to protest a maneuver that's happened during the race will have to make a protest after the fact, and then our stewards will get round to it over the course of the week. The music dims as we get ready for this race to get underway. And just to confirm for you, there is a 50-minute hard time limit in addition to the 50 lap minute. So if we do get a heavily yellow flag affected race, we will be running to time certain 50 minutes. We'll line up 2 by 2 for the start. Gary Cousins will decide when we get this one underway, and Andrew Dryson's first job will be to be quick on the reactions to try and stay alongside him and form 2 solid lanes at the start of this race. We get the green flag and Gary Cousins immediately leads them underway, and he's got an absolutely fantastic start. Look at the gap he's already pulled to Andrew Dyson, who has fallen behind, and Adam Landis, and there's now fallen behind Joe Baldwin as well, who's immediately up into 3rd place. Baldwin running the black livery car, and he's already been turned by Andrew Dyson, I believe. The 2 of them falling down the field. Hopefully nobody else has been caught up in that. And we have a lit safety car.
Well, that didn't last very long.
There we go. We do have Daniel with us. Have you been saying things, Daniel, and me unable to hear?
No. I've been focusing on just trying to make sure I've got all the overlays working, so no, I haven't been saying anything. I did just see the chat there from Trent saying there was no commentator audio, but everything on my side was fine. However, he says that everything's good, so maybe that was just a temporary glitch there. But yes, we started the race and we almost immediately went under safety car conditions, so that was not great. I'll see if I can go back and have a look at exactly what caused said yellow flag session. This is the event.
Let's start the race. So we'll look at the outside line. Joe Baldwin with the number 9 car in the black.
Okay, there we go. So that's the 592. The 592 belongs to Andrew Dyson. He gets into the side of Joe Baldwin there, and that is what causes the first yellow flag of the race. Yeah. So yeah, not an ideal start there. I guess some of these guys getting used to the ARCA car. As you said, it is no longer the NAS trucks. They are, of course, in the ARCA series. I don't remember what ARCA stands for, but in any case, it is the subclass to NASCAR.
Can I take a wild guess of what ARCA might stand for? American Racing Car Association.
Probably.
It's ARCA.
I'd imagine that's it, yeah.
It could be something like that. If anybody knows, do please comment in the chat. Or if anybody has Google available to them and can afford to be distracted, do just let us know in the chat what ARCA does stand for. That'd be a fun bit of trivia knowledge. And we might need to get a dictionary of trivia knowledge, because so far I asked whether it'd be Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde, and we've got Hyde so far.
So Joe Baldwin was just trying to come out of the pits there and just lost the rear. Luckily he's caught it. Because I'm not exactly sure how he's going to rejoin here. I'd imagine that he will be given a wave around, considering he did have to tow. So, yep, there he goes past the safety truck. And he will continue on and then rejoin to the back of the tail here, with Gary Cousins leading the race. So, again, not a great start, but hopefully once they regather and we can restart this race, we get into a better groove the next time by. For those of you who are sharp-eyed, you will notice a new addition to the street on the top right. That is the Digi flag. There we go, Josh Sweeney. ARCA stands for Automobile Racing Club of America. There we go. Founded in 1953 by John Markham. There we go, perfect. I learned something today, and that's always a plus. But yes, Digiflag system, that's from Race Labs, for those of you who are familiar with that. I figured that will give us a better indication of when things go yellow and green and white flag, because sometimes the iRacing live timing window does not accurately report that. So yeah, hopefully that will be a better addition for those of you who are curious about race statuses and things like that.
Good condition. And if you have any ideas for how we can improve our broadcasts, then please do let us know. Just drop a comment or hit us up in Discord afterwards. We're always looking for ways that we can improve the experience for you. Everything short of changed commentators would be appreciated. I'll even accept do better. I'll accept do better. Yes, so what we're looking for on this restart is obviously nobody's pitted yet, except for those that were obviously John Baldwin pitted because he was cut off. Did have a couple of people pitting it right at the very back, but the tyre difference is going to be minimal, so I wouldn't look for them to necessarily come through the pack unless they already had pace. Joe Baldwin did start this race in 4th or 5th spot, so it was 4th. So he watch for him to try and make his way through and perhaps run a counter strategy if we do get another safety car in the next 3 or 4 laps. And what you'll see is if I'm not sure what they'll do on this safety car. I assume it'll be single file. Yes, it is, definitely, because the safety car has pulled away, and we're going to get back to green flag running in the next few moments. And if you have any problems with Josh Juno's comment there, please just drop him a personal DM. Because he's playing with fire there, particularly given the amount of ODBM cars that we tend to have in this in the GSRC racing across all of our categories. You can see a cleaner start so far, he says, touching wood, trying not to jinx it, and Gary Cousins continues to lead them away. He again got a really good start as it immediately pulled almost half a second in Adam Levis, so that gap will come down almost instantly should Adam Levis decide it. In fact, he's fallen behind Julian Mookie. It looks like Gary Cousins has dove into pit lane. That's him. So he's come out of the from the start of the race. He's decided to make an early pit stop. Not sure why that is. I wonder if he has run into some sort of hardware issue on his side that has caused him to come in, because that seems like a really strange maneuver, particularly immediately after the safety car.
Yeah, not something you would do 6 minutes into a race. But anyway, we'll watch that one with curiosity as Jordan Malcolm takes over the lead in this race. I take that back. It's Adam Levis now on the side. Actually, they're trading places, so it'll be one or the other. It looks like Adam just gets slowed up by having to take the high line. He'll fall back, and so it'll be Jordan Malcolm leading this race with Adam Levis in P2 and Julian Mookie in P3. You can see on that timing tower to your left, if you're wondering what the color coding means, if the time is in red, they are within 0.5 of a second of each other. If the time is in yellow, they are within 1 second of each other. And if it is white, they are outside that 1 second gap. So that will give you a better indication as to who is battling and for what position. You can see Feely now going down the inside, managing to make the position. He tries to sneak in. That is an insanely risky move by Feely there. He thought he had a gap open. He didn't. He ends up cutting across the front of Julian Mookie. Luckily, neither of them get put into the fence, but they do lose positions. So Snadden managed to go and shoot up there. He is now P3 as per his number namesake. And then we've also got Andrew Dyson also coming into the fight, as well as Tyson Broad and Jared Nunn.
Yes, some would call that manoeuvre ambitious, I think it's fair to say. Didn't come off that time, and it wasn't the worst idea to try and cut him off, but yeah, it was ambitious. We're very, very lucky that did not result in another safety car. And you can see the amount of movement in the middle of this pack. It's Jared Knight there, just moving a little bit left and right, trying to settle the car and giving the car ahead a bit of a bump down the straight. These cars are gonna have to settle into the lanes and just drive a little bit more smoothly if we want to get through too many more clean laps. A little bit too much entropy in the middle of that pack at the moment. Although, judging by Jared Knight's view, it might just be starting to settle down a smidge. Jared Knight takes the low line there. Looks like he's wanting to sneak under Tyson Broad, but not able to do so. But does find himself underneath Phil Otto. Not able to keep the momentum off the corner. Phil Otto's got a fantastic run out of that corner. He's going to get 2 positions here on that top line, and now Jared Knight tucks in behind him and is able to do so as well, immediately going around the outside of Broad. So that high line working really well for those drivers, confident enough to run it. But I do wonder the impact that will have on tyres.
So another thing to take note is that we are oval racing, and of course one of the key parts of oval racing is the bump draft. Now the bump draft is more effective in the ARCA cars than it is in the NAS trucks, just because of their aerodynamic profile. Also, these cars are much heavier in the rear, which so they're a lot more stable when you're going in through corners. So these guys will probably will have a better time going through the bank corners. It won't be as twitchy, which is why you saw some of them catch the rear much easier than they would have in the NAS Truck Series. So it'll be interesting to see whether that limits the amount of incidents that we see. And as you can, again, case in point, they managed to save it. Julian Mookie almost into the grass. Luckily he didn't. I think that was also Tyson. No, it wasn't. That was is they going to the side again? Jesus, these guys are not managing to calculate that gap effectively, and they're getting caught on that rear quarter panel. These guys have to pay attention, because otherwise this is going to go really, really bad. I will applaud them though. They have managed to keep it out of the grass and out of the fence thus far.
Undoubtedly, it seems easier to catch the car when something has gone wrong, because I'm pretty sure if we'd been in the trucks, both of those cars that were forced to the inside would have been well onto that grass, travelling sideways, perhaps doing a barrel roll, losing all of their panels. It certainly would have been a lot more dramatic than what we had there, so that is good to see. We've had a few cars. You can see the back end stepping out because they've got unstuck, but then that are able to get the car pointing straight again. Now, which bodes really well for the quality of the race we're going to get, but it also could get people into a full sense of security. I mean, they're going to be more aggressive. Like here, where we're about to go potentially 4 wide into this corner, which generally is a bad idea.
4 wide this early in the race is absolutely bonkers, but at the same time, I think we all like bonkers here at the GSRC. Sometimes that's exactly what we want to see in the broadcast. So you can see them now trying to determine which lane they want to take. Do they want to go down the bottom, in the middle, up the top? And then, as we saw before, maybe you just increase another lane as well. It is wide enough that they can actually go 5 wide. I wouldn't do that because maniacs do that, but in any case, you might as well do what the others don't and see if it works. But for now, Jordan Malcolm is the one that's doing the best thus far. He's leading the race here. Dane Snadden sneaks his way up into P2 and holds it. Now you can see there is a significant gap, or at least as significant as they come, when you're talking about thousandths of a second between each car. There's Feely there in third, Dyson Knight, Lavis and Mookie all fighting close right there behind, and then as they do that, there are more and more cars joining this front pack. However, you can see that there is a significant gap between P13 and the rest. So those cars from 14th onwards are going to have to make sure to work together to try and catch that lead pack. Otherwise, it will be a significant race between those at the front and those at the back.
Yeah, it certainly will. It's quite interesting what we've had so far, because in the trucks we would usually get that very strictly those 2 lanes, and it was a big maneuver when someone went to make it 3 wide to try and shoot up and claim a few spots. What we're seeing here is that is not the case so far around this track in these cars. People are much more willing to ignore the lane system and just go 3, 4 wide and just go completely anywhere they want on the track with whatever they feel comfortable. Be interested to see if that is maintained across the course of the season, or whether they do settle into some patterns before we go. And I just want to pick up on a point you made about the bonkers racing that we've had there. I think you have to be bonkers to spend thousands of dollars on a sim rig so you can do virtual racing. But thankfully we're all bonkers in the same way, and those that are the most sensible of the bonkers people to go and spend lots of money doing sim races always come and race in the GSRC, because we have fantastic racing just like this, a variety of disciplines, even more disciplines this season, with the addition of a second race on the Friday night, another open wheel formula, and strong participation throughout. Josh Juno posted some really fantastic stats from last season that are available in the Discord for those that want to see who drove fairly, how much participation we had, etc, etc. Really fantastic numbers from the club, but however not fantastic numbers on the amount of laps that we've had before this safety car, because it's a lot lower than I would like. And we will find what it was that has caused that as soon as we can. Interesting to see who pits and who stays out. So we're just watching Jordan Malcolm here. Going down to Pete Madsen in the 173. So he's down on that low line.
Oh, he gets tapped on the side. Wow, and that causes quite a lot of chaos there. You can see the tyres go. Now, I'll just have a look at that again. Now, I believe that
they entered the corner on such different lines. I think they just had no idea the other was there.
Yeah, that's Cameron Barnes, who ends up in the side of someone else as well. And that front left is absolutely gone. And that is the 131 of Steve Hoppett as well, who gets caught up in that. Unlucky for those. That is what has caused our second yellow flag or yellow stage of the night. You can see as these guys start to come in, Jordan Malcolm, Snadden, essentially everyone has decided to take this opportunity to get their first pit stop out of the way. So most of these guys will be putting in some fuel, possibly changing tires. I'm not 100% on the NASCAR strategy. If anyone else watching has a better idea, feel free to jump into the chat and chime in. We can see, so Connors out in front, Malcolm in P4. So Julian, Mookie and Dyson had a shorter pit stop. They were running, what's that? Dyson with a 7.7 second stop, Julian Mookie with a 7.3 second stop. Anthony Connors stays out. He actually pit on lap 2 and decides not to come in again. So he will temporarily lead this race, but there will be people behind them with much fresher tires and a much better fuel load. And Jordan Malcolm, who was leading, did a 14.5 second pit stop. Dane Snell with a 14.1. So, yeah, those guys most likely took tires as well as fuel. And I think Andrew and Julian in P2 and 3 respectively probably just took fuel.
Yeah, really interesting. So this is where those big battle packs are going to be breaking up, and this is where people that were in that second battle pack, they have a chance now to make themselves a fixture in that front battle pack, either by staying out and just doing what they can, because the field's going to be completely compressed again, so they're going to be able to make maneuvers and try to make sure they're in that front pack once they just separate this time out. It's going to be really interesting to see who is able to make a move. Keep an eye out, of course, for our early leader, Gary Cousins. He, with that weird pit stop that we're going to have to ask him about after the race, he was about 20 seconds detached from the pack, and now he is in that pack. He is going to be able to move forward, so keep an eye out for him further back. We've got Joe Baldwin as well in 24th, just moving into 23rd spot. Keep an eye out for him. And the reason he's moving to 23rd is because we are forming up 2x2, and in 1 or 2 more laps we will get this race back into green flag conditions.
So Daniel Yeaman bringing up an interesting point in the chat that I didn't actually think of, which is that we might have some 2-tyre versus 4-tyre calls in the pit lane. Most likely that is the case, actually, if I think about those times. I do have to do some research into what the average lap times are and how long tyres take to change, but yes, it most likely is 2 versus 4 tyre calls. So we'll see how that works. Obviously, for the fresher the tyres, your tyres get absolutely chewed up fast on an oval just because of the amount of lateral load that you're putting into them when you're taking these banked corners. Anthony Connors has seen better days. It's an interesting aero strat that he's running there. Obviously, he's trying to get as much air into the engine as possible. Not too sure about the aerodynamic profile of that, but time will tell. I would imagine he would probably come in relatively shortly after this, but at least for now, he will restart this race in the lead. We hit the Geico restart zone, and it is up to him to take this to green. The flag waves. He puts his foot down and immediately loses that position. But something that I don't think these drivers have caught on to is that is not as per the rules. So I believe that race control after the session is most likely going to hand down some penalties, because that was definitely overtaking before the line.
Yeah, and there is no overtaking before the start-finish line. In our NASCAR series, there is in the officials, there's no iRacing rule against it, but for our series in the GSRC rules, we have a stipulation that you are not to overtake before the start-finish line. An interesting thing from that start was you saw that backpack immediately detached, so I think it was perhaps Scott Jordison or Mark Cochran, somebody down there just didn't react to the car's head going. That meant everybody else behind was compromised as well. So there was immediately a 1.5 second gap from Scott Jordison in 30th to Mark Cochran in 31st, and that's really hurt those that behind them. And in fact, Pete Matson's just immediately down.
How did you get away with that, sir?
Yeah, he's stroking the wall, he's caressing it, he's letting the wall know that he loves it. But so far, he hasn't ended up completely wedded to the wall and unable to escape. Oh, that simply died halfway through. Anyway, we've got we've got Jordan Malcolm in the lead of the race. He's been up there the entirety of the race. Andrew Dyson, after an early incident in which he turned Joe Baldwin, or appeared to turn Joe Baldwin from what little we saw, he's in fourth place, trying to recover into third in the tight fight with Tyson Broad. They are absolutely side by side, neck and neck right now. And you're watching here, 12th up to first, essentially. Jordan Malcolm just out of screen, but this is Mitch Wood in the middle of the battle pack, driving the 048 car.
Oh,
and you can just see they're not afraid to go 3-1. They're getting so close to whacking each other. People are moving all over this road. And that's brave and Dane Stan's make it 3 wide there. He's going to try and tuck to the inside here. I think get underneath. No, doesn't quite have the momentum. It's going to be... Oh, he's trying to duck his nose underneath Wood. He's able to do it and gets a better run out of the corner. That'll be a specific game for him, but he's about to get squeezed and he's good.
Oh my God, do they actually just keep going? All right, I was ready to shout the big one, but nope. They somehow managed to keep those cars going straight ahead. Now, Mitch Wood obviously has something significant in that war as he almost... Oh, he's caught. He's trying to get into the pit lane, and there are cars flying by. He luckily manages to do so without hitting anybody else, thank God. But we are under safety car conditions anyway.
It's like watching an old lady on a Zimmer frame trying to cross the road, and the cars are like, "Can I get past? Can I get past?" And then they're like, "No, oh yeah, no," and then they're waiting to turn. Like the cars like, "Oh, can I go?" And then they start moving again. That's what that was.
So yeah, Dane Stan,
I'm pretty sure it's like this distance.
Caught in the middle here. You can see now what will happen is as they come out of this corner, they collapse. And when they collapse is when all the problems start. So Dane goes into the side there. Adam Lavis has nowhere to go. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, we didn't see that further back. Oh my. Adam Lavis. So, okay, let me just... So, on board here. Now, he sees the chaos happen right about here. Can't avoid it. And then... tries to, the car rolls back into the circuit and just bang. Oh, the carnage.
Yeah, big one for quite a few drivers there, and some of the favourites for this race are falling down the pack. And you're tempted to stay out of it, but anybody that watched this series last year knows they are not out of this race. Absolutely not. You can make positions quickly when you do have pace, when you have skill, when you know how to navigate the pack. If you can get a tyre offset, even better. And these drivers will have a tyre offset. Those that are pitted on this lap for fresh tyres because of the damage will have a pace advantage over everyone ahead of them. And that's why we're seeing a few of the cars dummying or going into pit lane. There is no correct answer here. You cannot know what is correct. It all depends on when the next safety car is.
Yep. So 25 of 50, we are officially halfway. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, our NASCAR races work like this. They have a set lap limit and they have a set time limit. Whichever they reach first will determine the end of the race. So at this pace, I believe they will be able to get all 50 laps done, as we have not hit halfway time yet. We've hit halfway laps. Jordan Malcolm leads this field. Tyson Broad in P2, Andrew Dyson in P3. These guys have been the most consistent out on the field and have avoided the majority of the accidents. Tyson Broad and Andrew Dyson did get into some, but they somehow managed to avoid larger damage. Those at the back, not so much. And Adam Lavis got caught up with that because of Dean Snadden, and unfortunately I cannot remember who it was that he drove into the side of. Might have been Michael Ladder. Michael Ladder is... what number?
Michael Latter is number 060.
That's the one. So it was Michael Ladder that he drove into the side of. Okay, so it was those two just coming off the start-finish line there. That sort of set off that chain reaction. Adam Lavis gets hit, and then it was one of the other cars behind that ran into him. So yeah, as these guys recover and they continue their way around the track at a slow pace, I believe the lights on. No, they are still on. Yes, they are flashing, so they will have to go at least one more time. You can see there on the top right, that is Mitch Wood, I believe, managing to go past and get a lap back. You can see on the top right there in that small little mini map the circles that are still trying to make their way to the back of that grid. And yeah, what an eventful restart to the season here on a Wednesday night. They're definitely doing a lot better than they did the first round of the NAS trucks. I will say that there was a lot of getting used to for our drivers there. They've obviously got that experience and are taking it with them. I also like the look of these cars a lot better than the NAS trucks. Just the liveries seem to fit them as someone else goes around the outside. They're trying to get a lap back and on down on the inside as well. That's an interesting way to do that. Scott Jordison, I believe, that went through. So yeah, as they bundle up again, it will be on Jordan Malcolm once more to restart these guys, and hopefully we can go green the rest of the way. But as you said, do not count anybody out, even if they've been in incidents, because it is very, very easy to climb your way through the field if everyone else makes a mistake, and they do make mistakes. So we'll see how they restart.
They certainly do, but the key thing at the moment is that the lap count remains ahead of the minute count, which means right now we'll be going to the full 50 laps and getting a full race in. If this rate of safety cars versus racing laps continues, they're doing it absolutely perfectly. It's like they're teasing us and they don't want to know when this race is going to finish. I do have a question for anybody watching on the stream. I'd love to get your opinion for a bit of a talking point. If in real life you could have fast repairs, would you want it? There's a question for you. Ignore the fact that it's possible. Let us know in your comments, and we'll see if we can ask some of the drivers after the ARCA and see what some people think. Here we go. Watch Jordan Malcolm leading them away. I believe this is the first time he has led them away at the restart, and he's got Andrew Dyson for close company and Tyson Broad. And then it's Philip Clark in fourth and Julian Mookie in fifth. And this time around, there is again a gap at the back. Scott Jordison. I wonder if Scott is trying to play the long game, staying back, giving himself plenty of time to react to if there are any crashes ahead of him, because we've heard Pete Manson talk about this before. There's a gap at which you can very quickly pull it back in. And he said it was about, I think it was about 1.5 seconds he was saying last time, where you could just sit there, give yourself plenty of time to react, and you can close back onto the path, close back up to the pack at will. And he said during the race he was actually experimenting with that to find out where it was, so he knew what he had available to him for the rest of the race. So I do wonder if there was a bit of that going on at the back on the field, and they will make that maneuver later in the race.
We are under safety car flag conditions again. I'm not sure what is it that caused it this time. I'm getting an alert here from Tristan Koch. Yeah, so high line. Just gets driven into the side of, and does he manage to keep out? That's really good brake work, actually. He didn't roll back onto the circuit, or onto the oval, I should say. So well done to you, Tristan Koch, but unfortunately you're at the back. So luckily you'll be able to catch up as we are on the yellow flag.
Yeah, we've got Josh in the comments.
15x.
Oh. So, for those of you who are familiar with what that means, so when they talk about 15x, that's the amount of incident points that Adam has got, and in iRacing there is a no blame system. So whenever there is a crash, all drivers involved get the same amount of points. So for a proper crash, it is 4x that you get. For like a little off track or loss of control, you get a 1x. and if there is a tiny bit of contact, sometimes you'll get away with it and you'll get a 0, like if you just push the wall or something like that. So for him to get 15x in a single, basically a single instant, is really, really harsh, particularly because he was an instant bystander in all of it. But because of that no blame system, doesn't matter that he didn't cause it, he had incidents, therefore he gets the instant points. And we have a system here at GSRC, if you get too many instant points in a race, you will get a drive-through penalty. So you'll get a nasty penalty if you get too many incident points. And the reason we have to have that, because I mean, A, you do want it because you want to punish anyone that is being an absolute weapon on the racetrack, but also because people will spend the 1x's at points in the track to make themselves faster. So less of a thing on ovals, but certainly on some race circuits, there's some corners you can cut and you won't get a slowdown, you'll just get a 1x. And drivers will use that strategically, maybe to make an overtake or something. So you want to have that system in place to stop drivers taking the mickey with that. And we also generally in all of our series provide a bonus point if you manage to finish the race with 0x, just to try and encourage clean racing here. And what you are watching right now is everyone from 15th down making a pit stop. And they weren't 15 down when they decided to make the pit stop, but the top 14 did not make a pit stop. Everyone below Pete Matson has made a pit stop this time around, and now you can see, because of the amount of safety cars we've had, we're getting quite a fluctuation in the strategy between the drivers. You got some like Dyson and Broad at the top who have pitted on lap 16, and they're on pretty old tyres at this point. Then you got Knight and Garrosh in that group there that are all on pitted on lap 24, which is where we saw that big incident with Adam Lavis involved. And then you've got a whole heap of drivers, about half the field, that have just made their pit stop. So we're going to have basically a free speed race for this next stint based on the quality of your tyres, because there's enough of an offset between all of them that the performance should at least be a bit different. However, it won't be as big as normal because we had so much safety car running. So that, in particular, that 5-lap difference between 24 and 29 is probably only really a 2-lap difference.
So lap 30 of 50.
You have no idea how hard it is to say Dyson Broad when it's Tyson Broad. Very, very difficult.
Yes, lap 31 of 50, 30 minutes of 50 minutes. We are dancing, we are flirting with the time certain end here. As we see a couple of others drive into the pit lane. That is Otto and Connors at the back, I believe. Sorry, Mark Cochran in P31. That is car 93 in the pit lane. So, Andrew Dyson, who seems to be doing his last name proud there, sucking right up to the back of that truck as if he were a vacuum. Dyson Broad in P2. Kurt Normanson. So I just have to point this out because I only just noticed this. Kurt Normanson, which we didn't really see at the start of the broadcast, but is now P3. That does say 32 positions gained. So
Not bad.
Not bad, sir. He is obviously doing the ARTT guys proud. Up there in P3. The question is, can he hold on to it for the next 20 laps? Hopefully so. He's done a really good job thus far to keep away from all the carnage. As we look at some of the other big movers in this race. Parry Anastakis, P10, moving up 20 positions. Robert Culbreath also moving 20 positions. Who else we got here? Brian Bullock up here, 17. Sam Stride, 14. As the safety truck comes in, we move to the start-finish line camera. So it is Andrew Dyson who will lead this grid from the green flag. It waves. They cross the start-finish line, and we are underway yet again. Under 20 laps to go. Can we keep it green till the end?
Well, can we keep it green for a lap? That would be good. That would be a good start. Let's go, boys. Show us what you can do. Time to put away Jekyll, put away Hyde, and return Jekyll to control. As we see Tyson Broad almost completely obliterating Andrew Dyson, but just about managing to avoid that fate as these two go wheel to wheel in pursuit of the lead of this race. They've already dropped Kurt Nomson by 0.6 of a second, but he'll be able to wheel that in if he so desires. Key driver to watch out for, Jared Knight. He's the lead driver on the 24-lap old tyre, so let's have a look a close look at what his pace is going to be, and then Benici as the lead driver to pit on lap 29, although he is, Fitz as the lead driver to pit on lap 29, so we can get a feel for which strategy is the correct one to be on at this moment in time. As they are briefly 4 wide there, maybe even 5 wide, just about. That's not going to work, fellas. Probably sort that out before the next corner. And indeed they do. They're now only 3 wide, which is much more sensible.
Yeah. You can fit 5 wide. This track is wide enough to fit 5 wide, but an interesting phenomenon happens when you go 5 wide. The cars that are in the centre, the drivers sit about 1.5 inches higher in their seats. Not sure why, but that seems to happen when they go 5 wide. So Dyson still in the lead of this race, but Kurt Nommensen has something to say about it because he's right up there fighting, knocking on that door. Sam Stride is also there, so you can see they're doing a bit of a box formation now. It's 2 by 2 as we see some of the cars at the back taking chunks out of that wall. You don't want to do that. That's the slow option. And we are under yellow flag again. Oh boy.
And I believe Adam Lavis might have been involved in that, given there's a suspiciously green and white dot lingering behind the rest of the pack.
So Schmidtke has registered as off track. What happens here? He moves to the inside. Please don't tell me the teammates get together. They do. Unfortunately, Adam comes from the top line. You can see the anti-roll panels working on the roof there. Schmidtke goes off track, but it is Adam Lavis who does cop the brunt of that. So again, Bailey Ladder's entry there. He will come down from that top lane and unfortunately just not see the gap there. And we'll get turned around, and there go the panels. Does he keep it out of the wall? Yes. Oh, I thought he was going to... He was absolutely on 2 wheels then.
Oh, just about keeps it going. It looks like the type of manoeuvre that Lightning McQueen would do. Just going on the 2 wheels there, so we'll see him going along the wall and overtaking cars that way. But he's going to need to do that because he's well and truly at the back of this pack. But thankfully the safety car is going to put them all back up for Adam, and I'm sure that'll be another 4x for him, so he's going to absolutely be flirting with that drive-through penalty after being best and fairest throughout the entirety of last season.
I was just about to say, he's probably hating himself right now because his record is shattered. As we can see some of those top guys coming in now. So Robert Culbreath decides to stay out, as does... No, sorry, my mistake, I read that wrong. So it is Culbreath that stays out. Everyone else does pit in. It looks like Pariana Starkus will also stay out on track. I'm just trying to see who it is that's out on track right now, but not at the front. That seems to be Steve Hoppett. So chances are he will be given a wave around as they all file back up again.
Yeah, looks like most of the drivers that had pitted on lap 16 and hence were on the oldest tyres have decided to take this opportunity to make a pit stop. Culbreath, the only person now on tyres that have been on for 20 laps.
So
and once again, the lap count and minute count are almost exactly the same.
Yep. So Jared Knight is the first of those who decided to pit under this yellow flag state. He will now have to fall in probably behind 082 there. That is the car of Cameron Barnes. So Culbreath, lap 16 he pit, so obviously he will be out of this one unless he can make it to the end. But then again, I don't think the tyres will be doing much for him at this point. Then Anastakis onwards to P4. That's Feely there. All pit lap 24, so they'll have a bit more tread, a bit more fuel. And then we've got Cousins down to Colgan. That's P5 to P14 on lap 29. So on the previous safety car period. And then we've got those who pit now. So it will be interesting to see how each strategy plays. But for Robert Culbreath now, who is leading this pack, he is probably knowing Robert, he is probably quite nervous right now. Because all that he can hear and see in the back or in the rearview mirror of his car is hornets, loud, angry hornets, all wanting the position that he has. So we will see just how he maintains this restart, and hopefully everyone remembers you cannot overtake before the start-finish line. The lights are also out on that truck, which means we will be back underway at the end of this lap.
And not a moment too soon, otherwise we are in danger of this race going time limited, which is not how we want to start the season. Let's start the season with a full 50-lap race, please, fellas. So nice clean driving from here on out, but we have got a 2-lane restart, which makes that a slightly less likely proposition compared to the single file that we do get when a safety car has occurred immediately after another safety car. Drivers to watch out for. Gary Cousins is back up into 5th place and Joe Baldwin in 7th, and they were 1st and 3rd earlier in this race. So watch for them. So after all of the insanity that we've had, it seems that the cream has rised back to the top of this field. Safety truck pulls in a very aggressive manoeuvre, just like always. Might want to get the truck driver some training in how not to jerk around the car too much, but we are back underway under green flag conditions, and people being fairly well behaved and staying in their lanes, which is good to see. And immediately we decided to make it free wide, at least there, with car 39 to 228. Oh, that's really tight with Baldwin and Cousins, but they both get free cleanly. That's good. It's going to be tight here between Anastakis and Garioch as well. They are the two light blue coloured vehicles that you can see on your screen in 2nd and 3rd.
Oh, boys, please. Please keep it together. You can see them all floating around there. They want to try and keep as much speed as possible, which means that you extend your steering out, you use all of that banking, but you can't do that if there's cars beside you. So it looks like Anastakis is going to go. He's going to take that inside line, the lower line, and try and make it to the front of the pack. He does so, yes. Now in the lead of this race, Colbert loses 1. You can see Joe Baldwin trying to fit into a gap. That gap rapidly closes. Garioch will say no to that. They go 3 wide behind. So it's 1, 2, then 3, and then everybody else is trying to figure out how math works as Schmicke manages to avoid a big wreck there, keeps the car nice and straight. And I have to admit, for all that, I can't even gather how many cars there are in front of me right now. It looks beautiful.
It is beautiful. Isn't it wonderful to see? And look at those packed grandstands as well. We've got a really good amount of viewers for this one, which is lovely. Your computer evidently working overtime right now.
It's making the same noise. I was about to say it's making the same noise as the cars were, but they've tuned down, and so has my computer apparently. So we are again under safety car conditions. We saw the smoke rise up as there was quite a nasty dent in the front of that Mustang there for Adam Lavis, and I believe this time around it belongs to Eduardo Zamora and Jared Knight. We will go back and see exactly what happened. We jump on board with the drone cam as Karth, yep, so Jordan Malcolm came down. It looks like Mookie also got involved there somewhat, and then just carnage for those.
And this is the danger when you are making it 3, 4, 5 wide. It's, you might be able to see that you've got space there, but what you don't know is what's happening with every other car around you and how quickly that space is going to dissipate, or if you're going to give someone no room to maneuver. And that's what happens, particularly once you go beyond 3 wide. There's just not enough room for people to adjust if somebody gets something a little bit wrong, and that's essentially what we saw there, right? It was just too many cars arriving late to make it 4 wide, and it just meant there wasn't the option for people to move around like they assumed they had earlier on, because as far as they were concerned, there were only 3 cars in that corner, and they were taking it like they had that space to maneuver with. It's really hard to control yourself when you're in that moment, and you can see that gap and you know it's there, and you know you've got the overspeed and you want to make use of it, but sometimes you've got to be smart and make sure you get to the end of the race.
Okay, so Robert
says someone who constantly spins out races.
So Robert Culberth decides to come into the pits this time by. So Barry Anastakis in the lead, Joe Baldwin P2, Philip Clark P3, Nicholas Garioch in P4, Gary Cousins up there in P5, Anastakis 29 positions gained. Now he's obviously going to have tyres that are screaming, and might have some considerations on fuel as well. So the defense game is going to have to be pretty strong. Then again, there isn't really too much of a defense game in NASCAR, considering how wide the track is and you're only just one car. So we'll see how that works for him. But in any case, there's going to be a serious fight. P2 down, and remember, those who pit on the last safety car period, Andrew Dyson is the leader of those in P7 now, tucked in behind David Lawler. Then the next of those cars will be Kurt Normanton in P11, and Sam Stride just behind him. Matt Schmidtke there in P10, managing to avoid the chaos. Started P11, so through all of that only gained one position, but in the top 10. Lawler gaining 25 positions. He started this race, good job to him. And the biggest loser right now seems to be, I believe, Jordan Malcolm. No, sorry, my mistake. It's Jared Knight, who has lost 22 positions.
Yeah, you can see pretty much everybody has had a turn in every single position.
Yeah, almost.
In the race.
Oh, almost, yeah. There we are, green tilt checker, I believe, new all. I would love that. A green tilt checker would be great. You know what I would also love? I hope that iRacing implement, now we do know that they are working on a new race control system, and hopefully they give us a lot more freedom than we see in some sim racing games, for example manual controls of pedals and things like that. But if we're talking about oval racing specific, NASCAR specific, I would love to see them introduce, they already introduced the restart zones, let them introduce the choose cone. So for those of you who aren't aware of how the choose cone works, basically once you're under a safety car condition, when you are preparing to go on the lap before you go green, there is a triangle or a cone that is painted onto the racetrack, and you have to choose if you would like to go on the high line or the low line. That gives drivers some agency on where they would like to start, or at least what lane they would like to start when the green flag flies. I think that that would be a fantastic addition to sim racing. I don't know how many resources that might take for a team like iRacing to do, but it would just add yet another, one, realism aspect, and two, strategy component to some of these safety car restarts and ovals.
I would like to see an option to vary how big an incident has to be before a safety car comes out on the ovals.
Based on like automated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how hard that would be, but yeah, that'd be nice.
Would be good, but for now we have got what iRacing have implemented, which is essentially very similar to real life. In all honesty, as soon as anything goes wrong, we throw the yellow flags, unless it's very obviously just one or two cars and they've managed to recover themselves and not going to be in danger. But for now, there is no danger because every car is going absolutely flat out as they cross the start-finish line, and we get back to green flag conditions, and we're immediately free ride at the front with Philip Clark, Joe Baldwin, and Perry Anastakis all involved. Anastakis immediately losing out on those older tyres. He is going to be fighting a losing rear guard action to the end of this one, I believe. Andrew Dyson making big moves to try and get himself into the top four, and he does so, currently running in 4th position, although Gary is got words to say about that. Kurt Normanson is in 8th. He's up 28 positions. He'll be dying to get himself into the 30s because that's just a fun thing to be able to say that you've done. So he'll be dying to do that as well. But what I can guarantee you is there's going to be more drama before the end of this, because the drivers have not learned the lesson, and they are going free wide in many places up and down this pack.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with going 3 wide. It's just you have to be consistent about it. And the problem is that sometimes that's very hard to do. Now, obviously, in the virtual world, we have to deal with things like netcode and things like that. It doesn't seem to have reared its ugly head too badly in this session. We see Matt Schmidtke just sneak down the inside of Matt Feely there. Now, will he go down to the lower line? No, he decides to stay on the high line and take that draft. So maybe a little bit more sensible there. And I say that just as he creates another line again. Probably drifted out, not under his control, but in any case, we can see they're brushing the wall again, but no harm, no foul as they continue to go straight on, and that is the car off the circuit. It is Anthony Connors. Sir, do you keep it straight, or have you crashed? I don't know. I do know, because the safety car signal's out.
Tyson Broad and Scott Jordanson, I think, involved in a tangle because they both went off track at around the same time and quickly dropped to the bottom of the timing screens. And this is absolutely what Joe Baldwin wants to see, because he is in the lead of this race and we might not get this one back underway.
All right, so Anthony Connors, did he get tapped or drift off? Here we go. Into the side, gets a little bit of a push. All right, all right. Now, how do you rejoin? Okay. That's...
Not safely.
Oh my lord!
Beyblade action in the background.
That was insane. Hold on a minute. So Tyson Broad. So I believe it's Scott Jordison who ends up hitting the fence and just ricocheting back in. Hold on, here we go. Bang! Wow! Oh my lord. Okay, well.
I hope he was not in VR, because he will be quite dizzy after that one if he was. Rejoin out of 10. I'm going to give that a solid 0.5.
So Scott can probably see what's about to happen. Bang, gets touched, and then just... Oh my god. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Oh, at least he tried to shift. He shifted.
Don't want to stall it.
Oh, don't want to stall it, yeah. Oh. Oh my
I can still
Lord.
win this. I can still win this.
I apologize for everyone at home, but that has broken me. Oh, just the sad gearbox noises. Okay, let's compose. All right, lap 48 of 50, and as you mentioned, Liam, we may not restart this race, and if that is the case, Joe Baldwin has managed to pick up a win for the first round of the ARCA series, sponsored by Orbic Australia. No. And let me tell you why. Because if I go into the in-car view, that truck doesn't have its lights flashing, which means we will get underway. So, can these guys keep it clean for a lap and a half? And can we finish under checkered flag conditions? Or, I take it back, because it says 49.48 on the clock. I'm not sure now.
Like, you know, this is so not right.
Yeah. We went motor racing, Toto. God, that was 2021. That's 4 years ago. Anyway, but back to the point here. So it looks like we will be going time certain. Tyson must be a rally driver. Doesn't matter what happens. Just select first gear. That's it. So I think, based on that clock, I don't think we'll get another lap in. I think it will be. The car comes in. It's showing a green flag. Does it go from green to checkered, or do we get a white flag?
We're racing. Are we racing?
We get another! Okay, we get one more! Possibly two more, actually, because the white flag wasn't flown. It was just the green. So, Joe Baldwin is going to have to put everything into this number 9 car to keep the lead. Andrew Dyson in P2, Philip Clark in P3, and again, those at the back start to get a little crazy. Just keep it together for one more lap. I implore you, please. Okay, Andrew Dyson on the top lane. So it's going to be a fight of two unless Philip Clark can try and join back up to these. A drag race to the line. Oh, they touched it. It's checkered flag. And Joe will pick it up. Wait. No, it was a checkered flag. Okay, it's showing me a white flag, but no, that was the checkered. That is the race done. And Joe Baldwin manages to win it by 0.05. I just want to look at that one more time, because no, this is after. Where do we get? Here's the checkered flag. So again, as they approach, so Joe keeps the inside, and he does drift out. He does drift out a little and just go into the side there of Andrew Dyson. Hold on. Oh, they sort of come together. That's okay. But that little wiggle was enough. And Joe Baldwin will take round one here in the Orbic Australia GSRC ARCA series. I really thought we were going to be under safety car end, but I'm glad that we got that last lap in.
And the big loser in that final lap was Aristarchus. He was on the podium, started in 3rd place, if my memory serves me correctly, but was relegated to 4th, with Philip Clark moving on to that final step and taking the bronze here tonight. And here are those finishing positions. Joe Baldwin, the winner, by just 44 thousandths of a second over Andrew Dyson. Philip Clark in 3rd, with Aristarchus finishing just off the podium. Sam Stride completes the top 5 with Gary Osh, Nommensen, Cotran, Cousins and Stadden all driving strong races into the top 10. Then we had Lawler, Mookie, Smitke, Koch, Lavis eventually, after being up and down the field like a yo-go, finishes in 15th, mid-pack, as deserved for a yo-yo. And then Mitch Wood is in 16th, King in 17th, Bullock in 18th, Matt Feely in 19th, and Blake Fitz in 20th. Then have Benici, Connors, Latta, Coolbreath, Knight, Hoppet, Jordan Malcolm, after leading at one stage, finishes in 27th position. Then we have those that essentially retired, starting with Otto and joined by Matson, Jordison, Barnes, Broad, Zamora, Colgan, Blacklock and Green and Woodbridge. Many of those drivers you will see in the supercars in the not too distant future. And we'll just wait here for some of our drivers to join us in the commentary box. We have been joined by the first of those drivers, and it's a voice you'll all recognise, and it is our winner here tonight. It is Joe Baldwin, and we have now been joined by Andrew Dyson, who finished 2nd place as well. So we get both their opinions on that final lap. Joe, how surprised were you to see us go green for a final lap of racing? Because we thought we were going to go straight to checkered.
Yeah, no, look, I actually could have let it go and finish the race under yellow, but in the interest of fairness and the ability for us to go green, I actually put the win on the line and shortened it down to 1 lap, just so that it wasn't any sort of perceived bias being added in or anything like that. And you always want to see races finish under green flag anyway, so I was putting myself at the mercy of Andrew by actually shortening it, and it actually, I think it was a bit of a grandstand finish there at the end, so yeah, really happy with that one. I'm pretty pumped. I think I hurt the ears of my teammates in Discord when I actually got across the line in first. So yeah, definitely, pretty proud of that one actually.
Well, as you should be. Any victory, when particularly a victory in a field of 37 cars, has to be a well-deserved victory. And it was a race with a lot of drama, a lot of safety cars, and a lot of really tight pack racing. How did you find it out there? How did you find these cars compared to the NASCAR trucks from last year?
These cars are a lot more difficult to drive than the trucks. Like they have a lot of understeer. You've got to manage the tyres a lot more than what you do with the trucks. Like the trucks, you can sort of flat foot them around and get in the draft and make them work. It's not. I wouldn't say that they're easy to drive, but they're different to these. Whereas these cars, they move around, and if you're aggressive on the wheel, you slow them down. So when sort of, I mean, I had that, unfortunately, I'm not exactly sure what happened with Andrew there on the initial restart, whether I come down or whether he got a push on cold tyres. I don't know, I haven't looked at it, but there was contact on lap 1 which turned me around. And fighting through the field, you can watch these cars and guys that are a bit too aggressive on corner entry, it just kills their momentum. You've got to be really smooth with them, and you've got to run the brake. Like around here in the truck, you really don't use the brake. You can just sort of lift off the throttle, whereas this car, you've actually got to manage the brake and you know, a bit of road course knowledge comes in with how to run the brake down. You know, if you want to run the bottom, you've got to sort of run brake and throttle to keep it pinned down on the bottom and straight, so you're not hard on the tyres. And yeah, it just worked out tonight. It's actually, obviously, it's a new car, and it's good to see guys have bought it to join in. It's my first actual run in it, so yeah, it's certainly a car I enjoy. It's yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, it was really good to see such strong numbers for the opening night of the ARCAs. Hopefully those numbers will rise throughout the season as more people pick up the car and just fancy joining in. One more question before I let you go and enjoy this victory. Do you want to just talk us through that little bump with Dyson on the final corner?
Coming off a 4,
Yes.
Yeah, I knew he was going to have side draft, and you've got to find a way to break that momentum. I just tried to get close, and these cars are actually renowned for having net code issues. Like, you look at the forums and that, like, you can be a couple of feet apart, and I felt the bump. I don't know how close we were. It didn't look that close in the mirror, but it was just trying to disturb that side draft, and it just changed the momentum, I think, and sort of slowed his momentum up on the run to the flag, and just kept your nose ahead. I don't think there was much in it at the end.
0.045,
yeah. So it's just that tiny bit, whether it was net code or just, there was the slightest bump, but it was enough to break the momentum, and he got home without any damage, just in second.
Yeah, look, fantastic victory. Go enjoy the rest of your night, buddy. I'm sure we'll speak to you often throughout this series, and fingers crossed you can make a title challenge.
Yeah, look, even in the trucks, I sort of, as I said at the end of last season, I had the pace, just I had no luck with the trucks, and luck was on my side tonight. Unfortunately, Adam and other teammate Matt Schmicky, they didn't. They had rough nights, but even Matto, he was fast as well. So, good to get one for the team. The Aussie Racers Bailey Ladder team has chalked one up for round one. So, very happy with that.
Go
forward.
They certainly have. Enjoy the night with your teammates, and I'm sure you'll be cheering them on for the supercars as well. So go enjoy that.
Certainly will. Thanks, Liam.
And we'll cut over now to Andrew Dyson, who finished a really strong second place, was one of the drivers featuring in the lead pack for the majority of the race, sans that early incident. Dyson, first question for you is how did you feel about that little bump on the final corner?
I mean, the bump wasn't really much. I was more disappointed that he called out a quick restart, to be fair, because he'd won the race fair and square, and I didn't want to be, didn't want to see it, swing that way, just sort of swing one way or another, just because, he'd shortened the race up. But it ended up being a pretty good finish anyway, so it worked out really good.
It certainly was. And how did you feel about the rest of your race?
Pretty chill, really. I mean, there was a good bit of racing. There was a lot of like 4-wide stuff, 3-wide stuff, and most people were pretty aware of where the cars were around them, and people were aware when guys had a run on the top and stuff like that. So it worked out really good when you ran the top line, and that was good to see.
Yeah, we saw compared to the trucks, people much more willing to put themselves into that make 3 and 4 wide scenarios and sort of disobey the 2-lane system a lot more. So did it feel more comfortable in the battle pack compared to the trucks?
It's actually been such a long time since I raced here in trucks. I think these cars are probably a little nicer because they have a better aero model than the truck. So I know the truck is getting a better aero model all the time, but these things side drive a lot more, and it really affects you when you're in the middle of a 3-wide, depending on exactly where you are in that 3-wide. But if you're slightly ahead in the middle of a 3-wide, you're going to get absolutely dragged back, and I don't think you get that as much in the trucks. So these cars were a lot nicer to race. There's a lot more positioning sort of gamesmanship going on, which was pretty fun.
Yeah, it looked like good fun out there, and you've obviously started the season strongly with a second place finish. Do you think you can turn this into a title charge?
Oh no, that's not what I'm actually on a mission to I'm on a mission to do every race this week, and then from there on in I'll do whatever I can whenever I can. So that's sort of where I'm at. But hopefully we can get both races in tomorrow night with this update coming. And if I do, then I've done every race this week, and I'll be pretty happy with that.
And you'll be one of very few to have done that in the GSRC. Last year, just for people's awareness, it was actually Eduardo Zamora that did the most races with 120 something. So there you go. You've got a challenge to beat.
I've already pushed myself trying to do 1 week of racing, so that'll be a big ask, man. But I'll keep it in the back of my mind.
Yeah, mate. Best of luck with every single race you're in this season. We'll be cheering for you silently in the commentary box. So fingers crossed you get more good results like this one tonight.
All right, cheers, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one. I'll head over now to the biggest mover of the night, Kurt Normanson. Started in 35th, finished in 7th. that's got to be beyond what you were expecting going into the race.
Just 1 sec, I'm finishing Quali.
No, it's finishing Quali for Supercar, so we'll leave Kurt to that and we'll head on over to Sam Stride. Sam, are you in Supercar or are you free to talk?
No, mate, I'm waiting for you.
Oh, excellent, lovely. Well, we'll get straight to you then. Up 13 spots, 18th to 5th. You made that pit stop on lap 35, which is a bit later than many of the cars around. Fair to say that worked in your favour?
I think it was a good time to pit. I grabbed right sides, but the drama I had was the extra cautions we had. I had a lot of car pace coming into the last stanza of that race, and it really slowed my momentum down getting that last caution. It probably cost me a few positions, but that's oval racing. That's the way it goes.
It certainly is the way it goes. There is an element of luck in oval racing as well as skill. And yeah, the luck didn't quite fall in your favour tonight, but still, a really strong top 5 finish to start off the season. Is that where you're aiming this season, top 5?
Yeah, like obviously the luck thing you just mentioned, like all things playing into my hand, I should be able to finish in the top 5 pretty well most rounds. I'm pretty good at conserving tyres, so that sort of really helps me out when it comes to some of the longer distance races on the higher wear tracks. Like this one, for example, is quite a hard tyre track.
Yeah, it is it would have been quite hard on the tyres because quite high speeds through those corners, but not full throttle. So I imagine to get a bit of push.
Yeah, well, there's not a heap of banking in here, but yeah, you had to let the throttle off a fair bit. But obviously, you've got sort of the different lines of what's going to use more throttle, and then you can sort of put it into the corner a bit without any throttle, and sort of a little bit kinder to the tyres, but you can sort of get a bit more corner speed out of it if you're trying to go for a pass, and then wash out to the top. But yeah, I worked out some different lines on that track. I'd never been around there before, so it was all learning curve.
Yeah, so given everything, 5th, really good result, particularly on a new track. And how familiar are you with the car though? Is it a new car as well?
I just bought the car like 20 minutes before we started Quali, so I know the cars from the real world series, but I'd never driven one in iRacing, obviously.
Yes, that's an absolutely fantastic result. Hopefully it'll only get stronger from there. And where else are we going to see you at the GSRC this week?
This is me done for the week. I'm heading up to Bathurst tomorrow morning to support one of my mates who's running the 6 hour, so this will see me out for the week.
Well, best of luck to your friend for the 6 hour, and fingers crossed you have a good time.
I think it's always going to be a good time up at Bathurst, mate. Thank you.
This is true. It's hard to have a bad time at Bathurst unless you are racing and you get caught up by the mountain. Yeah, go enjoy yourself, have a few bevies, and we'll see you again next week.
Roger that, mate. See you later.
See you later. Now, Kurt, are you happy to talk, or would rather we leave you to it?
No, I've pulled in. It's a pretty busy session out there.
Yeah, fair enough. I can see you got another 7 minutes, so we'll keep this short. So very quickly, biggest mover in the night. So absolutely fantastic result. Is that beyond what you were hoping for going in?
Yeah, a little bit. I was just hoping to go out there and have a bit of fun. I wasn't expected to get inside the top 10, and well, I was fighting for the podium until the end there when I had to pit for fuel. But no, it was good fun, and learnt a lot tonight.
It's good, really good. Is this your first time in the car as well?
Well, yeah, technically. I did the shakedown race, but that wasn't really all that telling. But first time in anger in this car, and it was good fun.
And what's your aim for the Supercars race?
We'll have to see. It hasn't been a great quali for me. I had a bit of bad luck, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. We'll just get it to the end, and I'll be pretty happy with that for this one.
Oh, excellent. So wherever you are, we can say, yeah, Kurt's doing a good job.
Yeah, pretty much. I should be able to pass some people. My quali's not the greatest time, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, for those who want to go home, Kurt, as you can see on your screen, currently sat in, I think, just been relegated to 31st, and then you just hop up. No, just relegated to 32nd. So look, go see if you can get another lap in qualifying. We'll wish you good luck from here, and we'll speak to you most likely again after Supercars.
Too easy.
Right, I'd like to thank our main sponsors, Orbic Australia, for allowing us to put on the broadcast for the for the NASCAR series. We'll of course be aiming to bring you every round live on platforms of the GSRC, although sometimes real world commitments get in the way, but we will endeavour to let you know in the Discord if there will not be a stream for one of the rounds. But with that, we'll bring that to a close and we'll head on over to the Trophi.AI V8 Supercars Championship. We're running a combined split like we did at the end of last season, and it will be a single 40-minute race around Donington Park National Circuit. As you can see, we're just heading into the last 5 minutes of quali here, and drivers are leaping up and down the timing screen with reckless abandon. Some are on fast lap, some are on slow lap, some are in pit lane. It's incredibly busy out there with 45 cars in the service, everyone just fighting to get a bit of space on what is a fairly short, fairly tight track. So there's going to be a few drivers out of position. They're going to find it really hard to make their way towards the front, but they will be helped by the fact that due to this being a 40-minute race, there is a single compulsory safety car, so that strategy will be a factor. And we've just been joined in the booth by Greg Heaney. Greg, how you going?
Good. I was just jumping in. I was actually more to see if you guys were actually broadcasting at the time I jumped in, because I was just going to have a chat. But yeah, we're 6 cars away from a full grid tonight for Donington Park. Being that it is a slightly smaller track, it does have a shorter number of cars available. 51 cars maximum, and we're at 46.
Can you imagine seeing 46 cars at Donington in real life? That'd be insane.
Oh, it would be hectic as anything. The one gripe I am getting from drivers at this point in time is the pit lane exit is a nuisance, which we all kind of know. And, well, I mean, sticking to the official schedule, Donington's on the list, so we're racing at Donington.
Yeah, well, it's fingers crossed that everyone can get through cleanly and we don't get anyone blockading the track, because otherwise the complaints are going to increase. But short technical tracks like this can be a lot of fun when they themselves. So it's on the drivers now to turn this into a good race.
Oh, yes, most definitely. We're still umming and ahhing as to how on earth they're getting 106s, that's for sure.
Yeah, incredible pace being shown by surprise Sam Blacklock up at the top. That was sarcastic, that's not a surprise. And Tyson Broad following him is hardly a surprise either. There's some very, very fast supercars drivers in this field.
Yeah, well, Sam is no surprise at all. I mean, it's why he's wearing the #1 banner. So, yeah, it will be rather interesting.
It will be rather interesting. And Dale, I'm just going to leave this to you for a moment to take us through just the last couple of minutes of qualifying.
Yeah, sure thing. So yes, just to reiterate what you were talking about a bit before, Greg. Donington is one of the, I wouldn't say the, racetrack in England. That would probably, the honours for that go to Silverstone, but Donington Park, one of the most famous. And I'd say perfectly suited for V8 Supercar racing. V8 Supercars are bigger than British touring cars, but in any sense, I think we'll see cracker racing here tonight from these guys. What's going to be crazy is, as you mentioned, we're close to server capacity, which, around here is a choice. I feel like lap 1's probably going to test a lot of people's patience here. As you can see, like Andrew Dyson just shooting down the inside of that Kmart Camaro. There's flashbacks.
Well, you're close. It starts with a C.
Yeah, let's get flashbacks there. You can see Adam Lavis in the background there with his green machine. Stan Blacklock, 106.539. He's gone faster again. Ray Campbell up to P2 with a 106.898. 106.9 there from Tyson Broad. So yeah, pretty competitive out at front. If we look down at the bottom, we've got, what is the slowest time we have at the moment? That is a
1:11.7.
1:11.7, yeah. So yeah, it's looking like a crazy, this is going to be a crazy field. And yes, that pit exit is going to be, and look how much debris is on track as well.
Yeah, I think most of the debris at turn 1 is people trying to avoid fast cars coming down the front straight and taking to the gravel to avoid said cars, and then just dragging it onto the road. So it will be interesting.
Yeah, well, we've got a minute left. Yep, we've got a minute left. Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm going to jump back over to the garage, and I'll see you on track.
No worries, mate. Go well. Have a good race.
Best of luck.
Cheers. Here we are. So just under a minute left to go here in our qualifying session. Sam Blacklock leading on provisional pole with a 106.539. As one of the ESS guys goes to the side. I'm not exactly sure who that was, but luckily managing to avoid those on hot laps. Has a party on your screen right now. P17 with a 107.787. And driving in the Bronzeville's Choice Whiskey Business Racing entry. I love the red on the headlamps. That's good there. And who is it that's behind him right now? Being an absolute menace. Craig Bond. Okay. So Craig Bond we saw did quite well in the previous season. And as you can see on the top right there, the Digi flag letting us know the qualifying is now over. So those on a hot lap will be able to finish. We'll see if anybody can gain some positions at the end. So we've already got one of our first chats. Let's go Blacklock. No surprises there. He was very, very strong last season, so much so that, as Greg Heaney mentioned, he is wearing the #1 on his car, and rightly deserved, as we see Barney waving that flag to signify the end of qualifying. Is he still on the lap? He is. Now I can't see any of the second times for him. So into that fast chicane. Oh, getting a little tail happy. Cross the line. Will he improve on a 106.539? No, he does not. But it doesn't look like anyone else did either. So I believe Sam Blacklock will lead the first of the V8 Supercar races.
Well, and a full shout out to Andrew Dyson, who looks like he's put his car into pole position for the dev split. And 6th overall, beating the majority of the pro split. So he might not stay in dev for very
Someone's
long.
getting a promotion.
Yeah. Feel the gaze of Adam Lavis fall upon thee. And a shout out to Adam Lavis, who looks after the spreadsheets to calculations for who is in what split. It is done based on a percentage of your percentage of pace compared to the fastest car in the race, and every attempt is made to account for, you know, off tracks, for collisions, etc., etc. That might mean that your pace has been hidden or flattered. And I think generally gets it about right.
Daniel, well, where were you before, man? No, the rules are that when you start, you do have to start in the dev, so it is what it is, but I'm sure that'll be rectified once his pace is compared to everyone else in the dev split.
Yeah, and you can ask for, you know, special allowance to be put into the top split straight away if you know you are that fast, and yeah, so it can be made, but if you don't make the attempt, then you'll start in the dev split. And this is your starting grid for the race. We've got Sam Blacklock on pole position with Rain Campbell alongside him. Then we've got Broad and Slade on the second row, with Bailey on the third row, and alongside him Andrew Dyson pole position for the open, well, the dev split. Then we have Brownlee in 7th with Chadwick in 8th, then Buchanan and Kirby at the back of the top 10. Behind them are Trent Allen and Jaden Green, and then on the 7th row are Nicole and Fit. Bond is on the on the next row with Adam Lavis alongside him. Then we have Hankey and Azzopardi in 17th and 18th, with Michael and Haynes behind them. In 21st is Snedden with Mulder in 22nd. Golan and Williams make up the 12th row, with Sharp and Paul lining up behind them. Then it is Snadden and Nommensen in 27th and 28th, with King and Heaney at the back of the top 30. Now well and truly into the dev split, with Amos in 31st and Marsh in 32nd, then Coach and Fitz in 33rd and 34th. The 18th row is Wilcoxon and Bradbury, with Shinkfield and Wood behind them, then Samora and Lipsky making up the top 40. Behind them is Kimo and Kuznetsov, then Woodbridge and Hernal at the back of the field. and that is the full 44 car grid. They were anticipating there's a couple of drivers that have not made the start of this one, so we'll be down to about 40 cars for the actual race, and we've got 5 lights on and the race begins now. And it looks like a much better start for Ryan Campbell. He's going to be able to get himself alongside Blacklock before the first corner. What matters though is who's going to come out ahead at the end of the first corner. It looks like Blacklock is just staying ahead now, has to take a wide line. He's going to get onto the dirt though. Can he keep the momentum? No, Campbell takes the lead for the start of the first lap here, and Donington Park is so tight that could be really, really decisive as we see some cars going too wide a bit further down in the pack. I believe that is Andrew Dyson and Brownlee, and Dyson really, really aggressive and sends Tim Nicole and Craig Bond both off track, as well as Jaden Green in that melee.
Yeah, so a crazy start there for Dyson. We'll try and go back and analyse it a little bit. But the real news is Sam Blacklock going a little too deep into turn 1, having to take that wide line. And that allowed Ryan Campbell to go in and sneak the lead of this race. Now, we know how Blacklock is. We know how he'll persevere, so I really don't feel that bad for him. And you can see already he's trying to look and see, can he attack down the inside? No, don't be silly. You've got 40 minutes ahead of you. Just fall in line. Keeping the draft there, and try and get it back later in the race. Instead, I do say that, but it does look like immediately he tries to see, is there a pass available? Tries to extend the turning arc of the corner. Can he get it onto the switchback just like was done to him? It might work, it might not work. For now, Rain will stay ahead. He's going to close that gap, but he can't do it aside. Blacklock manages to sneak in. No, falls back in line. Jesus. I thought he might actually go right into the side of that car, but they keep it clean. Terrain will stay in the lead of this race for now. But this is only 2 of 40-plus cars on the grid so far, and it looks like there's been a ton of action in the back part of the pack. Oh, Tyson Broad just loses it, but manages to keep it from spinning as they go down towards the second half of the track.
Yeah, and in that, Blacklock did eventually manage to take the lead from Campbell, went down the inside, and eventually I think Campbell decided it was going to be too hard to try and keep him behind, and has let him go. And look at the gap already forming. So Tyson Broad knows he has to get past Campbell if he's going to keep up with his illustrious teammate, and he does so. So it is now a Orbit drop bear Motorsport 1-2 for Blacklock and Broad with Campbell. He'll imagine now he'll want to settle into third place, see if he can get up to speed with these guys, because he looks a little bit slower in his opening salvos. And I do wonder if he just hurt his tyres a little bit, trying to go so defensive. And Speedway Dyson just turning Buchanan.
You've got to be really careful about that. Just way too aggressive into some of these corners. And it is something that you see when maybe people are a little bit unsure. They maintain their line. They don't back off. And then, unfortunately, yeah, they go into the rear of the competitor in front of them and just spin them. So, unfortunate there for Buchanan. Dyson moves up into P6. And Kirby and Trent Allen follow close by. No major incidents that I can see. A ton of off tracks. We'll see if we can go back to the start. So this was Tim Nicol and Craig Bond. How did they come together? They go into... Oh, Craig Bond just gets loose on the grass, can't stop the car. Tim Nicol tries to take the corner like normal, and then all of a sudden, bam, Mustang-sized roadblock. So
yeah,
unfortunate for those two.
Putting forward a strong hypothesis there, suggesting that Campbell might have got to slow down to back straight, and that was why he slowed down and let Blacklock take the lead so easily. I think that could very well be the case.
So that seemed like a little bit of net code here for Andrew Dyson as he comes back. Let's just keep a look at that. I mean, they were going to make contact anyway. Yeah, okay, they were going to make contact anyway, but yeah, it looks like it happened a little bit early there for Brownlee as he goes off the track.
Yeah, you can see Dyson there struggling as they go too wide in a couple of scenarios. I do wonder whether he's done a fair bit of practice on the track by himself, and is perhaps, as soon as he's getting off the different lines, just not that sure how the car's going to react and struggling, because there's been nothing that looked overly malicious there. Just looked like perhaps not quite having the fine control needed to run as close to the other cars as you need to if you're going to run at the front with the pros in the supercars at the GSRC.
So Matt Bailey, P4 at the moment, 1 position gained from the start. Sam Blacklock sets the fastest lap of the race thus far, 107.257. You see a couple of cars behind. You can see Trent Allen. It looks like he might get the inside taken from him by Chadwick. He's trying to hold the inside line. It doesn't quite work. So for now, Allen stays in P9. Bunch of little battles happening. Dale Sharp, P19, trying to take the position away from Kurt Nolanson. Nolanson standing strong. So Nolanson, of course, in between the two Bailey ladders entries, Adam Lavis and Dale Sharp. Sean McNamara there in the chat. Chadwick back at the saddle tonight. Rick on the charge from the back. Yes, it's good to see so many people come out. It's really fun watching large grids like this. Obviously, sometimes that can cause more chaos, but yeah, the more people that are racing, the better, in my opinion. As Brownlee down the inside makes short work of Dane Stanton for now, and you can see that is one battle-scarred Camaro from early on in the race. So he's probably got a little bit of red tint in that visor. Hopefully he can keep calm and collected and make up some positions.
Yeah, and particularly in these cars, they don't react. My understanding is they don't react well to being manhandled and trying to force the pace out of them. Instead, they react a lot better if you are gentle with them, if you work with the car to find the pace together, is my understanding. You cannot just wring the neck of them, because you will overheat the tyres and you will just lose ultimate performance if you do that.
Yeah, they're very brutish cars. There's a lot of torque on those rear wheels. You don't have things like traction control. You don't have things like ABS. So yeah, you can manhandle the car if you wish, but like you said, the tyres will balloon out of control and then you'll just lose all performance. What these require is very calm, very collected driving style. Having said that, what they do offer is the risk versus reward is quite great. If you learn how to play around with your brake bias, if you learn how to abuse the weight transfer with braking, you'll be able to brake a lot later than some of your competitors, and you'll be able to use that to your advantage. I'm not saying that everyone should go and try and Scotty Mac, lock the car up almost 90 degrees to overtake a competitor, but I'm saying that as long as you have a little bit of if you're a little brave and you've got a lot of experience in the car, knowing where the brakes lock up, the points in which that happens, then yeah, you can go a little bit deeper into some of these corners, and that's going to get you time, and of course that's going to allow you to make some of the moves into the sections in which some people might otherwise be scared to do so.
And I have to say, fair dues to as Ryan Campbell just loses third spot to Matt Haley in a bold manoeuvre around the outside. But I've got to say, fair dues to Andrew Dyson here. It got into a couple of scuffles early on. I do wonder whether the stewards might have something to say about that after the race, but he's solidified 5th place for himself and is looking really comfortable there now, and is holding Jake Slade quite nicely at arm's length, so he's really settled down. I did worry whether his race might unravel after being involved in an early instance, but he seems to have got a handle on the car and is doing a solid job in his opening race in Supercars. As Ryan Campbell gives Matt Bailey a bit of a shove from behind. I don't think it was intentional. I think he just got caught out by the braking point. It was over light, so no harm done. But these two, they're 1.7 seconds detached from Tyson Broad, and second to himself is 2.3 seconds behind his teammate. So at the moment, nobody has an answer for the rampaging pace of Blacklock, including his teammate Tyson Broad, who himself is clear of the rest of the field.
So you can see Rain's driving a little angry, just getting really, really close in some of these corners, but nothing too egregious. And obviously he would have been annoyed by that slowdown, as Daniel Yeaman pointed out earlier on in the chat. The Rain just getting a little bit of snap. This is something that's very characteristic in these cars. Sometimes you want to hold the line and the rear just steps out on you. You've got to pull it in. Obviously that's going to cost you time, but as long as you can keep it to a minimum, you're not going to lose that much. Lap 9 minutes in, which checks out. We're looking at 1:07 lap time, so it's going to mirror quite closely. And we see some other battles forming. Will Buchanan, who obviously got punched out earlier by Dyson, who, as if the liveries are correct, seems to be Josh Fitt's teammate. Is he also in Simring's DPR? Yes, he is. Okay, so that was his teammate that pushed Buchanan off the track earlier on. He seems to have recovered okay. P13 there 4 positions down from the start. Kuznetsov down in P19. Look at that, 23 positions gained from the start of this race. There in the Premier Racing Team entry, and it looks like he might make that 24 as he tries to shoot past Kurt Normanton, and does so. So up in a P18, it looks like Brownlee also takes advantage there. Kurt probably wasn't expecting to lose 2, but Brownlee, of course, a man on a mission.
Yeah, Brownlee's certainly a man that is out of position. He qualified in P7, currently down in 19th, thanks to that early incident. So he is on the recovery, and whenever he sees an opportunity, he absolutely has to go for it. So he just snuck his car into the gap left by Kurt Normanson as Kuznetsov made the move, and really smart driving there from Brownlee to ensure that he didn't get stuck behind Kurt, who's himself, despite being overtaken by 2 cars there, having a half-decent race. He's up 8 spots. So he's well and truly into towards the back of the pro split, but he's cleared most of the dev split drivers now. And let's not forget, did start the dev split last year and only moved into pro last year, and then had some strong performances. So 10th to 20th is probably where Kurt is aiming on a pure performance. Around here, as we see Greg Hinney, who we had a small chat with before the start of this race. He's currently in 30th, which is exactly where he qualified, and he is one of only 3 drivers where they qualified.
Speaking of that, Dyson was the only driver in the ARCA series to finish where he started.
Which is not a surprise, given the random nature of that race. But if anything, it's a surprise that anybody's finished where they started. Seems like the most unlikely scenario.
Will Buchanan just got a little too trigger happy coming out of the chicane. Now this might allow Fit to go around the outside. No, not enough gap there. So Buchanan stays 13th. Now, looking at the front part of this field, you're really seeing this starting to expand. Campbell still keeping this battle alive here for P3 with Matt Bailey, but Blacklock is out in front, 2.5 seconds to his teammate, who is almost the same to P3 right now. And then we see a 1.5 second gap to Dyson and a 2.3 second gap to Slade. So not a lot of battles. The only one happening at the front part of the grid is the one that is on your screen now. And Green is trying to catch up with Slade there in P6 to make another. And Chadwick is fighting for P8 with Trent Allen. So a nice healthy field. We've got battles happening all throughout, more so in the mid-pack. You can see it lit on the timing tower there with the red and the yellow. As we hit lap 12, and obviously we'll start to see pit strategies come into play soon. Or maybe closer to the halfway mark, I'm not too sure. Some guys like to pit in early, but given it, just look at how much debris is on the grass there. My lord, it looks like it's snowed.
Does look like it's snowed, and I do wonder if that was part of what we saw there with the wheel spin for obviously Buchanan coming out that corner, because he was on that debris. Look at this pace from Dyson, the only person anywhere near the pace of Blacklock. They're running very, very similar places, and Blacklock is, well, he was the runaway winner in the championship last season. That is the quality of driver that Dyson seems to be living with at the moment. So he's well on his way to a promotion to, not only on his way to a promotion to the pro split, he's on his way to potentially challenging for the podium spots before the end of this one. Next up for him is Rain Campbell, who's only now less than a second ahead of him.
Yep, so Daniel Yeaman was right. Should have probably drop down. You see Dyson goes faster again. Campbell catching up. Obviously the draft here on Bailey going to help immensely. But as you see, Bailey just snaps the front end, catches it though. Luckily gets away with that one. And yes, Dyson now underneath that 1 second mark. We'll see if he can catch him over the next couple of laps. However, you might be noticing that there are some cars that seem out of place, and they are. We are now getting into the territory of lapped traffic. Daniel Sneddon, an unfortunate thing that happened earlier on. He is down in P37 right now. Is that because he has pits? I am not too sure.
Yes,
he has. Okay, fair enough.
On lap 9.
So that'll be why. So now traffic, these guys will have to contend with. We can see a message from race control as well. 10-second penalty for Andrew Dyson, car 592, for avoidable contact with Lockhart Brownlee on lap 1. We also see a no further action for Daniel Sneddon with a late move in contact with Nathan Michael on lap 1 as well. So an unfortunate one there for Dyson. but Daniel Stannard will catch a 10-second penalty for loss of control and contact with Oscar Haynes. So yes, an unfortunate one there for Dyson, but the rules are rules. And yes, Craig Bond will also cop a 10-second penalty for the unfortunate lock-up there, which caused Tim Nicol to also go off track. So race control wasting no time. They are throwing the penalties hard and fast. And a warning there for 125 Liam Amos. Agree contact with Daniel Snedden.
A massive thank you to Josh Zuno and Scott Johnson, who are performing race control tonight. And if that's something you are interested in for any of the series, please do just get in contact with the committee. We're always looking for people that are willing to put their hand up, step out of the car and do race control so that others can have more enjoyment of their series. As we saw another penalty popping up there, and this time it's a second penalty for Andrew Dyson for the bump and run with Will Buchanan on lap 3.
Ooh, so Dyson might box. He might try to box him in. No, he actually plays it very, very smart. I'm pleased to see. Oh, he just gives him a little bit of Morse code on the back. No, oh, but he kicked again. And that right there, what you just saw there is exactly why you can't wrangle the cars like you wouldn't say a GT3, because the GT3 has this nice thing called traction control that likes to keep you on the straight and narrow. But apparently in Australia, we decided, nah, not manly, and we just took them out of the cars completely. So when that stuff happens, you've got to be really, really quick on pulling that accelerator and just keeping it nice and in line. And Andrew did a good job there. But that is what can happen, especially when you take one of those curbs. You unsettle the weight, you take load off one side of the car versus the other. That's going to give more rotation to the tyre that's on the track as he goes around the outside of Ryan Campbell. Clean move. Clean move.
He needs clean moves, because we spoke to him before this race and he says he wants to do every race this week. He's going to get a bit of safety points from the stewards, I imagine, in addition to those 10-second penalties. So he needs to be careful that he doesn't upset the stewards too much and pick up some sort of ban from a GSRC event if he wants to do every race this week. Yeah, because a 2-in-1 race will probably not be looked upon very kindly, although I don't think either was particularly egregious. So yeah, we'll wait and see what comes out of that and what points he is likely to get on his license.
Fantastic move here from Kuznetsov. Moving up into P11, deeper on the brakes. Like I said, you can, if you have a little bit of, if you're a little brave and know how to
see
control
what Kuznetsov's pace is like, because it looks phenomenal.
I can't see it specifically, but if we have a look at the top spread, so he's obviously not in the top 10 there.
Not yet. We need to wait for him to overtake one more car, and then they'll appear.
I might try and get a more detailed version of that lap time spread for us in later rounds. We see another 10-second penalty. Another 10-second penalty for Andrew Dyson with a bump and run.
I think that's the same one, because it wasn't that on Buchanan, the last one?
No. The last one's on Brownlee. So Andrew Dyson is up to, and this one makes sense as well. So Andrew Dyson's now up to 20 seconds of penalties. This is the one where they were coming down off turn 1, and they bumped, and that shot Buchanan off to the right. So yeah, a bad day at the office there for Andrew Dyson. But sometimes that's how that goes. You live, you learn. Let's just see where we can salvage some points. Where he ends up at the end of this race. 18 minutes and 25 seconds gone. Kuznetsov looks to go. Actually, Hankey's going to go into the pit, so he'll gain a free shot there. And crossing the line, that should now allow him to be, there we go, and you were right, look at that, right up there with Blacklock.
So really interesting this, that we've had two other drivers, and the Dyson's pace has come down a little bit now, but that'll be because he was effecting the overtake on Ryan Campbell. So we've seen two drivers that look like in clean air, they've got all the pace that Blacklock has, which bodes well for the rest of this series, the rest of this season. If we can get these drivers qualifying towards the front and pressuring Blacklock, but just both started in the pack and not able to go with Blacklock. Due to that, as well as just poof.
Yeah, so debris on those tyres, couldn't stop the car, spins out. Now he's going to be really careful about how he floors it out of here. No, keeps it on the straight and narrow. Okay, so not too crazy. I say that too early because it seems like there's another error log as he comes down towards turn 1. Too much on the inside. Does he go for a loop? Actually, no, he just stops. So I think that is him done.
wonder if he had a bit of damage and he realised at that corner that he was not wanting to try and drive around and make it back to pit lane.
All right, so we're seeing pit stops occur now. A lot at the back have pits. So those at the front choosing to stay longer. Blacklock now with a 5-second advantage out in front of his teammate Tyson Broad. We heard it earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, don't sleep on. Don't sleep on Trent Allen. Of those that have pitted, he is in the lead of that pack, and Buchanan in particular pitted out of a half decent position somewhere. Someone pitted out of the top 10 and has ended up behind Trent Allen. So it'll be interesting where he feeds out once these pit stops have all been had for the front runners.
So yeah, we heard earlier about how Orbic Drop Bear were dominating some races. Lockhart Brownlee, if it weren't for the earlier incident, probably would be right up there with Blacklock and Broad. Dyson doing a great job as well, but unfortunately hit with those 20 seconds of penalties. A night he'll want to forget. And as we go to the man you mentioned earlier, Liam, Trent Allen, already pit. Sneaking to the back of Craig Bond here. Both in the Mustang. Craig Bond also, and that'll be with the contact with Tim Nicol. You can see just there the front part of the bumper just pushed in slightly. As Tyson Broad will pick up a 5-second penalty for a bump and run with Daniel Snedden on lap 12. Interesting. Okay. Wow, the race controller's in full effect.
Yeah, and good to see. Good to see. These drivers need a strong leash. This isn't actual supercars. We do punish.
Okay. All right. Fire rockets across the bow. Supercars Australia, no big deal. Oh, it's Trent Allen shoots down the inside. Bond doesn't seem like he can put the power down. He's going to try to hold on, but as they come to the next corner, it's going to be advantage Allen as he shoots. Yes, there it is. Holds that inside line, and we'll keep the traction down as well. So P13 now for the Revolutionary Racing driver.
As we've seen more of the front runners go into pit lane, Jake Slade, David Kirby, Josh Fitt, all diving into pit lane, and Tyson Broad, now the leader of those that have pitted, he remains in 8th place, having pitted from 2nd. And look how close that is on the exit. We heard from Greg that drivers were complaining about pit exit in qualifying. Well, it's even worse in the race. And thankfully, so far, no incident has been had.
No, so we can't see it from there. So just, here you go, on your right. God, that is close. So Chadwick, so David Kirby coming out of the pits there, and it looks like Simon Chadwick, who pit lap 14, has now joined this fight. So we're seeing 4 cars fight for that'll be P11 now. And wow, Kirby is definitely looking the inside here. No, it doesn't seem to work this time by. We jump on to the roof cam here, get a bit of view. Bond seems to be struggling a little bit. I wonder if he's got some damage that's causing him problems. We can see that the bumper was pushed in the front. I don't know if that's caused any steering issues with that collision. In any case. Oh, someone else has gone on an adventure. Who might that be? I think it's Mitch Wood. Yes, it is. He stays out of the way, nice and clean, as they go down the run to turn 4. Oh, and Chadwick, what an exit! Okay, Kirby just, for whatever reason, didn't get the power down. They almost come together. And it looks like Kirby might just keep the position there, but Chadwick, like a rocket out of the gate. Luckily, they didn't come and damage each other. But that has allowed Bond to sort of get some reprieve. And Trent Allen, 1.3 seconds down the road now. So yeah, that man is on, he's flying. As we see Dyson take lead of this race. Blacklock, Brownlee coming into the pits now. Tyson Broad takes the fastest lap of the race, a 107.06. And so Yeah, we'll see if Dyson has any answer to Blacklock. I don't think so. That was a large gap that he had. Blacklock with a 15.5 second pit stop. Tyson Broad with a 14.7. Rain Campbell 14.3. But anyway, we've reached well over the halfway mark of this race. Let's see how it resolves.
Yeah, well, the only thing I'd like to put money on at the moment is Blacklock for the win. I'm not even sure Tyson Broad is nailed on second place at the moment. Not with the pace of some of the cars behind him. He might find himself under pressure for the. Oh yeah, true. Oh yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
there are a few plays that are going to affect this. So we'll have to wait a while to find the final results. But anyway, the on-track, shall we say the on-track results? Even Tyson Broad, I don't think can sleep safely yet in second place. And I wouldn't bet against Rain Campbell having a stronger second stint. He obviously had that early moment, and then looked like he's driving a little bit flustered, might have just not got the car in the right place, and it's a bit of a spiral in these cars. So I do wonder if he pits, gets some fresh boots on, or even just allows the tyres to cool down, whether he then might be able to keep a better pace up for the second stint, and just drive a little bit cleaner, a little bit more how these cars need to be driven, because he's certainly got the pace. We saw that in qualifying.
Kuznetsov with the fastest out of the race, a 106.9.
Oh.
Okay. Dyson does not want to come into the pits. He's just going to go as far as that tank's going to allow him to. Fair enough. So the idea, of course, with Dyson is he's trying to get as much performance out of the car as he can to try and gain back some of the time that he lost to Blacklock in the early stages, and then pit, and then hopefully balance it out. We'll see if that is the case. If we have a look at the lap time spread here, he's right up there, but yeah, Kuznetsov flying right now, but it does seem as though Blacklock is overall the fastest. And yes, Blacklock takes back the fastest lap of the race with a 106.8. He heard that I was talking smack, apparently. I wasn't even talking smack. I literally just said there might be someone faster than him, and he took it personally.
As he should, because he's made this category his own over the final 8 weeks of last season, taking a dominant championship victory, and he's not going to want some upstart coming and taking that away from him. So you should get back on your knees and obey our overlord in this season. And at the moment, that is Blacklock.
Maybe the trick is that he's a pilot, so he's just learned how to defy gravity.
That's true.
And that's what makes him faster. Time will tell.
Well, I mean, he's used to controlling things in 3 dimensions, so controlling something in 2 must feel like a doddle for him.
So I think there was Bobby Camo there in the Falcon liveried Mustang there, just going off track. Unfortunate for him, he's had a pretty rough night thus far. And again, look at that. So Dyson with a 20-second. What is the pit lane travel time? 37. Yeah, no, that's just not happening. It's too much of a gap there. So
yeah, he's no threat to Blacklock. It's more Campbell Broad.
But I'm curious to see where he does exit.
He's losing speed to them. He's losing time to them, so he's going to want to have he's going to have to make really good use of any tyre offset he manages to build.
That's fair, and you did bring that point up earlier, but this is the first time we can. Oh, okay, no, that's cool. Yeah, that's from you. We'll just call it a very stylish pit entry. That's fantastic, and I'm really glad that's on broadcast, because I'm telling you what, that was 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
That's a busy pit box.
There you go. It's just like, oh yes, box, what's that? Sorry, give me a minute. No worries.
Did he? Is that legal? You're allowed to cross that white line?
Look, man, why are you going to bust this guy? Come on. Why can't you just enjoy things for what they are? Let the man slide. But no, I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
Third place with a reasonable pit stop time. So I think it's going to weigh that one. And damn right he should, because that was entertaining. And he's in third place and 5 seconds behind Broad. But he has 6 laps of tyres, so let's see what he can do.
Yeah, if he doesn't get pinged by iRacing, I don't see And let's see, a black flag waved, so I think he's all right.
Yeah, he's still in the server, so I think he's all right. Because I don't know how it would feel if you got a 30-second penalty and then just ignored it.
Car 316 with a redress, 316 being...
Golan.
Yes, Golan there with car 91, Kurt Donington. Yep. And there you go, Sean McNamara with the upvote. I think that's meant to be an upvote. So Slade...
Could also be saying up yours.
Yeah, maybe. Either or. The Jake Slade, closest man on track in a battle. In the top 10, fighting for P4 with Rain Campbell. And someone just exits stage left. I believe that was Greg Heaney. And it was. So, unfortunate for him, he'll rejoin, hopefully safely, and continue on. So, yes, Jake Slade fighting with Rain for P4, pitting in similar positions. Jake Slade taking the earlier lap option. It seems like it is working for Rain Campbell thus far. And again, I thought that this track might produce some pretty killer racing in the V8, and I was right. Because we really do have, like, in general, the V8 supercars, and it's a shame what's happened in the modern era, because it does seem to have lost a little bit of its magic. Maybe nostalgia is carrying that opinion a lot, but we do have quite a unique series because you don't see this kind of stuff anywhere else. There is, so for anyone that watches the BTCC, those guys go nuts. Those guys take close races to a whole new level. But the cars are smaller, and you know, it's different. These are like big, loud race cars, you know. And we just make sure to take like all the assists away, and it's just like, yeah, let's try and keep this driver's skill sport alive. And of the modern years, these are the best the cars have ever looked.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
Who knew all you had to do was slam them? Literally make them narrower and more aggressive.
The equivalent of smashed patties compared to regular patties.
That's it.
But they are good-looking cars. I think as well. You mentioned about some of the magic being lost. I think the loss of the Holden Ford rivalry.
That's true. That is that's obviously one of the big key ones. That is for sure. Yeah, that's unfortunately
lost the tribal nature a bit. It just changes what being the experience of being a fan, because you don't necessarily have that real strong allegiance. Although those that support Ford can obviously continue to support Ford. We're going to have Toyota coming in, which will be exciting, I think, to see 3 manufacturers in there.
Yeah. Hopefully it lasts longer than Nissan and Mercedes.
Yeah, hopefully. It should be a beautiful car as well. It's based off the Supra, right? So yeah, it should be absolutely gorgeous, and that'll be really good. And the racing this year has been very good. I know I bagged them out earlier, but I actually really enjoyed that. They're just letting them race because it provides gives it more of its own personality. You know, you mentioned that one of the things about these cars is that they're raw. Let them race raw. You know, let that be Supercar's personality. You know, maybe it's not the fairest, because maybe we let some things go that maybe should be punished, but the racing's fun. And you've already seen that this year. So I think they should continue with that, but definitely not what we do here at GSRC, because we want people to continue to come and continue to spend their nights with us. And they won't do that if they're constantly getting knocked out of the race, even if it is free to repair these cars, unlike in real life. And we said to watch Dyson.
Yeah,
he's got the Dyson brought down to 1.5 seconds.
He does. Yeah, Dyson's doing a really good job there. And yes, I will just point out Lachlan Thomas's comment there.
Yeah,
is that being put behind a paywall to watch the free-to-air, which exactly. That's exactly right. I agree with that. I feel like, unfortunately, in the world of the digital age of licensing and things like that, I think that does put a bit of a damper on it. I agree. But it is what it is, and I guess you just have to sort of... I mean, you still get the big events televised by...
it's also not unique to motorsport. It's just a general sport thing.
Yeah.
And at least we do get some of the big events on free-to-air, like the Australian GP. I mean, Masters Golf wasn't on free-to-air, and that's the biggest tournament in the entire year. And probably the biggest storyline of the year with Rory picking up his green jacket finally. So,
isn't it?
Yeah.
FYI,
I did not know
BTCC.
that.
Really? Oh
Ooh.
man, that's
Ooh.
so good. I implore everyone to go watch that. Those guys are nuts. They lost none of the aggression. Those BTCC cars are nuts.
I mean, like, and it's also not an Australia thing, because even in England, I don't think BTCC's on free-to-air anymore.
No, it's ITV.
It is still on free-to-air then, because ITV's free-to-air.
Yeah, okay.
Is
Yeah.
it every race?
Yeah, ITV broadcast the BTCC.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
That's good.
Quite a big side adventure there, so we'll bring it back as we have 5 minutes left in this race. 32 laps done, and Dyson Blacklock still in the lead of this race by far. 8 seconds to his teammate Tyson Broad in P2, but a great recovery there from Dyson, who is looking to try and make a fight. Again, he's got that 20-second penalty hanging over his head, so we'll see just how much he drops down. Right now, it will be closer to about We're almost down to P10, I'd imagine. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it'd be close down to P10 there. But anyway, he'll keep driving. And but he is close here to Tyson Broad. I'm curious to see if he can pass him on track just before we finish this race. There is no more battles in the top half of the grid. You can see that everybody has extended now, and I think now they're probably just focusing on trying to make it home without spinning the car off the track. And I don't blame them for that.
I would say keep one eye on Rick Kuznetsov, 5 seconds behind Jake Slade, running at a really good pace, was 1.5 seconds faster than him on the previous lap, running at a pace faster, basically the same pace as Andrew Dyson, and he's up 36 spots, 42nd to 6th, which is insane, and there's half a chance he could turn that into 5th before the end as we watch Dyson getting a much better run for the chicane, just about judges it and manages to get the run on Tyson Broad, and he should come out of here in P2. Tyson Broad's going to try it and come slot behind him and make a maneuver back on him in T1, is he? No, just does not have the grip to do so, and Andrew Dyson makes second place his.
It's a little sneaky. I like the move. It had shades of SVG because he came out much faster and then just gave him a little bit of a tap as he was coming out there. Yeah. It made Broad a little unsettled, but hey, Robin's racing. So
yeah, I think he'll get away with that as well. I know he got pinged for a couple of bumper runs early on. I did see that as a bumper run.
Those were much more severe. Those were much more severe.
Yeah. He had the momentum coming out of the chicane. He was going onto the inside line, was trying to get alongside him, just misjudged it slightly and gave him a slight tap, but it was not like a deliberate bumper run. So I think it's quite a different maneuver.
So yes, Dyson up into P2 now again. We'll see where that resolves after the fact. Nathan Michael was close to Bailey for P14. It seems like he's dropped off now though. Maybe Ors. Bailey does himself no favour sliding out there. A lot of guys getting caught out by the debris on the outside of turn 1. It seems Curtin Normanson also looking for a position game, fighting with Rodney Gollan in P18. Both of those guys managing to keep it much straighter through turn 1. And we've only got 2 minutes left, so Sam Blacklock would be close, I imagine. It's very hard for me to see. Where is the number 1 right now?
Down at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, he's actually here with us. He's literally the next car. Just in front of the battle we were watching. So yes, moving through the second half of the circuit now. So we'll probably have 2 more laps in this race before it gets called. But then again, keep an eye on the top right of your screen, because I believe it will show us when the white flag flies. And this Blacklock is now staring down the green machine of Adam Lavis as his potential next victim.
And just to call out Broad sticking with Dyson within 0.3 of a second. That battle for second is not over at this point. All Broad needs is one good run, one opportunity to get past Dyson, and you'd back him to be able to hold him off for a lap.
That's the white flag. So it didn't show, but Barney is waving the white flag. We are on the last lap of this race.
A really entertaining race to kick off the season. The only downer was Blacklock just absolutely running away with it at the front, but behind him we've had some really entertaining drives, some really strong drives. I know we talked about Dyson and the pace that he's had, but it's got to be Kuznetsov. for the man of the race, just up 36 positions is insane. And if memory serves, not a single penalty in there. So he's going to finish ahead of Dyson and in 5th place, which is just incredible.
So if we have a look, the final lap spread there. So yeah, Kuznetsov the fastest there, 107.6 average 5 lap. Dyson there in P2, Blacklock P3. So yeah, these guys are fast. I'd imagine Dyson will be getting a promotion to the Pro Split. Sam Blacklock, the final turn, comes to the finish line and will take the checkered flag and yet another race win. But for this season, it'll be the first and probably the first of many.
And would you look at that? A producer who understands that you should always show the winning car crossing the finish line.
Oh, please, no. No, I'm not even going to get into that. But yes, I agree with you. That was silly.
Yes, as you just saw there, Dyson bringing it home in 2nd place ahead of Tyson Broad, but he will drop down the field due to numerous penalties, and he might want to go have a chat to race control at the end of this one. And Rain Campbell managed to steady the ship, took the early lead, dropped down to 4th place, but has managed to hold the car there, and in the end saw Jake Slade off relatively comfortably to finish in 4th place. Slade in 5th. Kuznetsov, an incredible recovery to 6th place, which will become 5th as Dyson is demoted. Kirby in 7th, Brownlee in 8th, another really strong recovery because he was shoved off track early on by, I believe that was Dyson, and has been recovering, was well down in the 20s or maybe in the 30s at the end of that incident. Simon Chadwick finishes in 9th, and Buchanan, another person who got caught up with Dyson, finishing in 10th place. So I think there's going to be a lot of drivers that are going to be very happy with their result, even if they weren't entirely happy with how the whole race went. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have to say with whoever joins us in the box. I can see Kurt Normanton. He's queuing to speak to race control, so he's a little bit unhappy about something. And you're pointing out that's Blacklock's 14th win in the last 15 races. So just approaching, Verstappen levels of dominance in the.
I don't know if his name is Sam or Samuel, and Sam is just shortened. But if it is Samuel, then we can just remix that Verstappen song. It'll just be da 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 Samuel Blacklock, and we'll just carry that on for the rest of the season.
I would love it if we could get that cut and play it in the intro for the Supercar. That would be mega.
Oh my lord! All right.
Finally, a decent use for AI. As I'm just confirming for you, here are your provisional race results. As we saw, we had live race control, and we can confirm that a few drivers did get penalties throughout this race. I can't remember how many each person got, but fair to say, I think Dyson, the person whose position is going to change the most. So we'll see. There you go. Blacklock taking the win. Dyson will fall likely outside of the top 10. Tyson Broad will finish in 2nd. Campbell in 3rd. Slade in 4th. Kuznetsov in 5th. Kirby in 6th. Brownlee in 7th. Chadwick in 8th. And Buchanan likely promoted to 9th. I'm going to assume from then on, to make the maths easy, they finished behind Dyson. So Fit in 11th. Hanky 12th. Nickel 13th. Bailey 14th, Michael 15th, Sharp 16th, Lavis 17th, Golan 18th, Kurt Normanton 19th, and Mulder 20th. And all those drivers are lapped, so 17th down lapped, which is really impressive given the amount of cars Blacklock must have overtaken to be able to lap so much of the field. Behind them, we then have Williams, Snedden, Koch, Azapade, Snedden, Amos, Wood, Zamora, Bond, Heaney, Wilcoxon, Marsh, King, Allen, Camo, Powell, Haynes, Shinkfield, Green, and Bradbury.
So yeah, just confirming that his name is Samuel, which means the song will work. So there we go.
The song will work.
Every time he wins, that's it. We will just chant that from the rooftops.
So Sam, how do you feel about that idea that we remix Max Max Supermax to your name for the Supercars broadcast?
Oh, don't do it, boys. Don't do it.
Because you asked so nicely.
Yeah, that's just made me want to do it more. Well, what do you think, Daniel?
No, it's I respect men's wishes.
All right. Anyway, jokes aside, Sam, another sterling performance from yourself. Got pole position, took the victory, but didn't all go your way off the line with falling behind Ryan Campbell. How happy were you when you got that slowdown and, well, we assume you got the slowdown and just let you pass, because you could have made things difficult for you if you'd been able to hold on to that position for a little longer.
Yeah, well, firstly, what a night tonight was. Qualifying was insane. I think I'm not the only driver that thinks that. There was a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of new people to the series and people not looking at their relative boxes coming out of pit lane. So it was really tricky to get a lap in. Managed to just absolutely bowl a timeout at the end. Not even sure how I did it. I need to go back and look at it because it was 2/10 faster, I think, than anything I'd done. Had a decent launch, but yeah, Rain's launch was just that little bit better, but I sort of thought like I can still hang on to this quite easily. And then I just bowled it wide at turn 1, just got into the, I don't know if there's marbles or something, but I'd been practicing a brake marker from that grid spot from the front row, and I actually broke earlier and still ran off. So yeah, maybe I ran over some marbles or some junk, but Rain got in front, and obviously I wanted to try and get in front straight away. 1, to help out Tyson, and then 2, just I thought I had probably a little bit better race pace based on the quali times, but got the move done thanks to him getting a slowdown. And from then on it was just traffic management, tyre management, and making sure to not make any mistakes. Try not to grab any off tracks as well, so I managed to get that done, which I think is a first maybe for me in this year. I think I've always had at least 1X or something, so I don't know.
All right, well, if you have, congratulations on the 0X, if that's the first time you managed to do that, because that'd be awesome, and another string to your already rather fantastic bow. Just a question about this track. How did you find coming through traffic at this track? You mentioned that quite a few new drivers and some perhaps not quite as aware of the etiquette in this series. So did you have any trouble coming through the back markers?
Honestly, not really. Last season, when we merged the devs into the elite split, I think it was the last 2 or 3 rounds we did that. They were, 95% of the time awesome to deal with. And there's definitely a few guys there that I can come up to the back of them and go, oh yeah, like I know they'll probably make my life pretty easy. A couple of new guys as well, and I could whinge if I wanted, like, oh, this guy didn't let me go, but sometimes they're not entitled to, and it's hard for them to pick the right points as well. So I think tonight there was a few I was sort of frustrated with, or I got stuck behind a car for a couple corners, but for the most part, like, it's they're entitled to sort of do what they want. They just can't hold me up too long. And then most of the other guys, especially the ones from last season, were just as usual, just awesome.
Yeah, and it's easy to be a bit chill when you do have a little bit of a margin to the guy in second. You had a few seconds to Tyson, so you can afford to sort of sit behind and not force the issue, which probably makes everything go that little bit smoother. Do you want to ask, do you have any more pace in the tank, or was this your entire pace this race?
I think with a bit more practice and a bit more setup work, there could be more pace. I wouldn't say I made mistakes as such, but I think in the first stint I definitely could have gone a hell of a lot quicker. I just was sort of trying to figure out where the car was at. And then in the second stint after the pit stop, I sort of pushed a bit more and was able to get the more lap time out of it, but just wasn't as consistent. So I think a bit of that's some setup work and stuff we need to look at. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty tapped out for the most part.
And before I let you go and enjoy what I was reliably informed was your 14th win in 15 races, are we going to see you at every round this season?
I've been asked this a couple times, and I'm honestly not sure. If I have it my way, I'll be here every round. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I might be going back to flying planes around, so that could interfere with rounds. I don't know, maybe I can fit a simulator in the plane. We'll see if that works.
I mean, autopilot's pretty good these days, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, took on autopilot, hop in the sim, hop back out, and there's a bit of a catastrophe. You'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I think I've now got a great idea. I think I'm going to go and invent something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this isn't America, so it's not like planes just drop out of the sky here. So you should be fine.
Oh dear, yeah.
Yeah, oh dear. Anyway, I'll let you go and enjoy your victory on that rather black night. And go enjoy the rest of your night, mate. It's a well-earned victory.
Thanks, Liam. Thanks, everyone.
All right, well, head on over to talk to Sam's teammate Tyson, who took home what will be second place after penalties are applied. Tyson, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, probably a chaotic night for me. Jumping in ARCAs over in earlier, and then sort of coming into this probably a little bit underdone. If I'm honest, probably didn't put prep into this at all. So yeah, nice to walk away with P2 in the end there after dealing with some lap traffic, which was less than desirable.
Yeah, I feel like, given what you just said about being underdone and then having, Sam in the server with you, second is about all you could really hope for, because if you're not on the top game, you're not going to beat Sam. So that's a really good result. Just talk us through what it's like on this track for those of us that weren't involved, particularly in qualifying. I hear that was quite chaotic. Do you have any stories from your qualifying that just highlight for those that weren't there, just what it was like having this many cars on this track?
I guess in some ways it was like the blind leading the blind. Just cars on out laps, not realizing that other cars were on flying laps, and then just a lot of gravel on track, so it made it grip levels very difficult to judge how much grip you're going to have entering a corner. I'm sort of lucky to end up P3. Probably felt as though I could have challenged Sam for the pole, but in the end P3 is better than being P23, which is what I was looking like early on.
Yeah, that is a lot better. Do you feel like if it had been you that had managed to get ahead of Sam at the start rather than Rain, do you feel like there would have been any hope of you holding him off, or do you think...
I felt as though that once we got spread out and that my lap times were somewhat close to Sam's, so I felt as though if I did get ahead at the start, I felt as though it would have been close. We probably would have put on a good show, but I guess we'll see in next round, because I know we're going to put a bit of prep into Watkins, so we've got a couple of big races coming up there after the gents.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for your sake that you are able to really take the challenge to Sam at the next race, get ahead and see if you can't wrestle the championship lead from him at the end of round 2. And I've got to ask you this question because it's the first round and it's important to understand where our target contenders are going to come from. Are we going to see you at every round this season?
I am going to have to miss 2 because of clashes with V8 Pro Series, because obviously I'm racing in that, but I guess those will count as my drop rounds, and currently planning on doing the remaining rounds, so I guess it'll just be no drop scores for me, essentially.
Yeah, so everything going well, yes, you'll be in target contention, but it'll be a little bit harder for you because you just won't have the benefit of those drop rounds. But like we heard from Sam, he also might not be there all season, so very much an open championship at the moment, which is really good to hear, and fingers crossed you can make all of those rounds. Look, I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the 1-2 with your teammate, and fingers crossed you can repeat it next week.
Yeah, I'll do the team thanks since Sam didn't do those. Just want to thank the boys at Orbit Drop Air for the continued support and help throughout this start of the season. I think we've now got 4 of the first 6 races in the gents for this season, so hoping to keep the streak up. And then, yeah, obviously our sponsors, Revolution Race Gear and iLiveries for their support and sick looking cars. And then just the other competitors and the series putting on a great show.
You are most welcome. Note, Daniel, how the broadcasters didn't get a thank you, but the series did. Oh, no, just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, to be fair, you are a part of it.
I'm only teasing, mate. I'm only teasing. Go enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, so.
Alright, well, I head on over next to Dale's shop, first in, first out, and Dale was the next driver we're going to talk to. So he started in 25th, finished in 16th spot, and finished, I believe, in 3rd place in the dev split, which will become second because Andrew, at the very least second, because Andrew will certainly be promoted, and I'm not sure about Josh Fit. So really good result for you there. Are you pleased with that?
Very happy with that. So, yeah, I was looking at the results and made the same assumption. We'll assume Andrew's going to find his way up, whereas Josh, yeah, not sure. We'll have to wait till Adam's put all the data into the pay sheets and see where he lands. But it was still a good start to the season.
Yeah, really, really solid start. How did you find this track and car combination? It seemed like it produced surprisingly good racing.
I think it did. Like it was, I was a bit worried round one being the short configuration of this track, but it wasn't too bad. There was congestion obviously, and there was a bit of carnage early on and whatnot. But I mean, I personally managed to survive it and get through it and run the own race, but a few others weren't quite so lucky. I think something must have happened to the pit stop sequence there, because I was about 21st before the pit stops happened, and then once everyone had pitted I was 16th, so there must have been something happened in the middle there, but no, yeah, I enjoyed it and managed to do it without killing myself, so first couple of options took.
I mean, enjoying yourself is the main thing, and a pretty good result from what we can tell, so all things checked off. Is that your goal for this? Is your goal for this season to try and win the dev split, or are you eyeing up a berth in that pro split?
Yeah, I think ultimately the goal for this season would probably be to try and get promoted to elite. So, like I hadn't run a supercar for probably a couple of years. The last time I did, I won the dev series in the old car, and so I come back to try to Gen3 and got the dev series in. So I mean, we're still in dev series at the moment, but ultimately I like to get well enough at driving and to see where I stack up in the elite. So yeah, we're not really, I mean, technically title defence, but we're not really thinking too much about that, because yeah, based on where we land on the pace and that, it could it could all change. But I'd be I mean, all those front elite guys, they're in a different class to me, but I mean, I'll find myself tonight, you know, around about similar pace to some of the, you know, the back half of some of the elite guys. So it'll be interesting, and we'll see how the season goes.
Exactly. I mean, look, you finished ahead of Adam Lavis, who's always a really good walker to bench yourself against. You finished ahead of Kurt Normanson, who moved up last year to the elites and had some really strong showings. Same with Dane Snadden. He's someone that can put in really strong showings in the pro split. And you finished ahead of all these guys. Craig Bond and the one who got promoted last season, and you finished ahead of him. So you finished, you know, right in the mid-pack for the pro split this week. So I think that'll be a storyline to keep an eye on, whether or not you do earn that promotion. But for now, I'll let you go enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy a well-earned 16th place, and fingers crossed we'll see you break into the top 15 next week.
No worries. Cheers, Liam.
Cheers. And now we're going to speak to Andrew Dyson, who had perhaps the most interesting race in the field. And the reason I say that is because it's a race of two stories. There was the fantastic pace, seemingly faster than Blacklock at points in this race, which makes you wonder what could have been had Andrew started on the front row, but also picking up the ire of race control, and I believe 30 seconds worth of penalties, if I remember right. So, Andrew, I'll let you pick where you start. Do we start with the good or the bad?
Gee, 30 seconds. Hey, I thought it was only 20, but anyway, thanks for that.
It might only be 20. It might only be 20.
I don't know.
It's big maths. There were a few.
Does it really matter? Because it was bloody horrible. I was running into everyone out there. I hit just about everything in the first 5 laps, I reckon. But yeah. Anyway, we got there in the end and worked it out. And then yeah, at the end of the race there, I think I had the freshest tyres of just about all the cars around. So that probably played some tricks on some folks, but. I worked it out good enough anyway to have a good race there with a few guys, so that was good fun. And yeah, well, I thought I'd jump in at least anyway and take this opportunity just to say sorry to the blokes that I bumped and popped off the road and all that, because that was pretty average on my behalf, and I know I can do better than that, and I'd like to do better next time now, so I will do that.
I will say probably worth, once we finish chatting, just going and echoing those comments in race control. They're good blokes, so I can go over chat with them, just let them know that it was accidental, just to be sure, because you picked up I think it was either 2 or 3 penalties.
Oh really?
Might be worth just doing that, just to plead leniency.
But I mean, I'm not out to plead leniency, that's for sure. But I'll check in with the boys anyway and just say look.
But penalties aside, though, absolutely you take home the gold award for world's greatest pit lane entry.
Oh yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, I had the boys watching and they said, pit in. I went, don't forget the pit in. I'm like, I won't forget the pit in. So I made sure, because they were watching, I made sure I did a big slide. It was a bit of fun.
It looked fantastic.
It did. And then I wondered if you were allowed to cross the white line, and like, please don't get a penalty for that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that as I sort of came in, but yeah, luckily I got away with that one as well.
Yeah, it deservedly so. Maybe they let you off because even like, you know what, style points will let you off for that one. My next question is about your pace, because your pace was fantastic when you were in clean air. Do you think you could have challenged Black Luck had you started at the front?
Gee, I mean, probably not, man. I really haven't done a lot of laps in these cars lately, and I don't really know how much laps they're doing. And you only really get a gauge on that as well when you do some laps yourself to get a feeling of how fast someone's really going. So, I mean, he was certainly a lot faster than I was, and a few of the guys were as well, until I sort of got my act together and had some fresh tyres at the end. But yeah, really hard to say, man. But the short answer is I don't think so.
Yeah, that's fair enough, and perhaps it's an answer we'll get to see next week. Is this a series you're planning to race in frequently? I know you said you want to do every race this week, and then afterwards sort of knuckle down into where you want to focus. Is this the way do you think you'll focus on?
I don't know, man. Like, I do enjoy driving these cars, but hopefully I can, if I race like this, then I probably won't. So if I can come in and race clean and make some friends, then definitely I'll try to race as much as I can. But same for every league or every series, I should say. I'll try and race as many races as I can in most of them. But it's a pretty big ask. I mean, there's so many races during the week, like two races a night, which is awesome. It's great value to be part of the club and get so many races through the week. But yeah, can't do all of them all the time, but I'll try to do as many as I can.
Yeah, you definitely can't. It always amazes me when I see some drivers and they just keep popping up. Like, where are you finding the time to do all of these races?
In the energy, because these cars are pretty hard work sometimes as well, especially after you've just done another. Well, actually, the ARCAs were pretty easy, so maybe that's a good lead into these cars.
It is a good lead in because well, until you get to a road course.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't driven the ARCAs at a road course, but I can imagine they'd be a workout as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, it amazes me when you see people doing that, or people like Andrew Lavis and our very own Daniel Crairside is doing a production tonight, who they volunteer on other nights and then they're also racing 2 or 3 nights a week, and it's like, how? It's
dedicated, and we appreciate that. We love it.
We do love it. Look, go enjoy the rest of your night. I do think go say hello to Racing Charles. Just let them know it was accidental. Because just deal with the accumulation of points, just to make sure they know there wasn't malicious intent in there. I'll go chat to them, and fingers crossed that the rest of your racing this week goes well. It'll of course be broadcast next week, because not next week, tomorrow, when we have the SFL, followed by the Porsche Cup. So everybody make sure you tune in for that one and see how Andrew Dyson and everybody else goes.
Yeah, cheers guys. Hopefully I can give something, my boys a chance to cheer about something rather than laugh at me. So that'll be my aim.
That'll be fantastic. Good luck, buddy.
Cheers guys. See ya.
All right, Greg, have we got you for a chat, or are you just sitting in for a...
No, you've got me. I was just sitting on mute, so my feedback didn't come through on the headset, so...
Yeah, good thinking, good thinking. One of the only drivers in the field to finish where you started, in 30th position. Just to talk us through your race and how you ended up there, because I can't imagine you started 30th, ran 30th the whole race, and then finished 30th.
Yeah, no, it was certainly not my intention to start where I finished, but hey, at least I didn't go backwards. No, I had a couple of little moments coming out of the last chicane. I think the first one was just a little bit too much of the second curb and too much throttle too quickly and just turned me around. And then I think I had a couple of times where I sailed through it, just not being able to get the car stopped in time. So, look, all in all, it was from my point of view as a series runner, I reckon that was a pretty good opener. And very, very happy with the turnout for round one of season 2. So, for my own race, quite happy with the way it went. Could have been better. I think I lasted about 14 laps before I got my first off track. So, very happy with that. Yeah, good showing from the rest of the guys as well. I think the only one from our guys that didn't quite make the end was Lachlan. He basically jumped in, I think, with about 5 minutes or 10 minutes of qualifying to go, maybe even less, and decided to attempt to throw some laps around, but everybody else seemed to do pretty well.
Oh, this is such a hard... Just such a hard car in general to hop in and then actually get through a race in, because it's such a unique car to drive. And then at this track as well, I'm not surprised he didn't make it to the end. That's an effort and a half.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, next week should be interesting. It is for the guys that are intending to do the practice for Watkins, it is the short version of it, so it will be another short, sharp 40-minute session, so that's for sure. I honestly think it worked out quite well for this one. Yes, there was some congestion at the start, but once everybody started to find their own piece of tarmac and have their own little spot fire battles here and there through the whole field, I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the race, it sounds like the race worked out a lot better than qualifying did.
Yeah, most definitely.
So happy to stick with the one split for now for the season?
Yeah, I think the only other track that might be limited on numbers, obviously this is being the type of track that it is, all the participation numbers are set by the service itself, and I can't change that. I think the only one that might be a little bit limited might be Winton for the mid-season super sprint round. So that will be interesting to say the least, but we shall see how that goes. Everything else I'm pretty sure is a full-size grid, so we should be okay.
Yeah, I think we will. I think we will be okay. Yeah, which is good. And yeah, I think you should be really proud as a series runner for how this first week has gone, because it's gone absolutely fantastic. We've had fantastic numbers, fantastic racing, and a lot of people seeming to really enjoy this race, which is the main barometer for success at the GSRC.
Oh, most definitely. As long as the numbers stay where they are or relatively close, I'll be happy if it stays like that for the season. So
yeah, well, fingers crossed. And of course, next time out, we will be heading towards Road Atlanta. Is that right?
Watkins Glen next week.
Watkins Glen. Oh, of course, it's Watkins Glen. It is Watkins Glen. Yes, I read the series underneath off the spreadsheet. So yes, Watkins Glen next week, and that is going to be another standard race, 40 minutes. That's going to be absolutely spectacular. If you've watched the NASCAR around there, you'll get a feel for what Supercars is going to be like at Watkins Glen. It's one of those dream scenarios you wish would happen in real life, but instead we can make it real in iRacing. So best of luck with that one, and go enjoy the rest of your night, Greg.
No worries.
And a big thank you to Trophi.AI for allowing us to put on this broadcast. The only reason we are able to do so and bring you the entirety of Wednesday night motorsport live into your living room or wherever else you may be watching this, either watching a friend compete or watching your own race back afterwards. If you are, hope that you had a good drive. But they are not our only club sponsors. They are the title sponsor for this series, but we could not bring these races, we could not bring race control, we could not bring all of the goodness that we bring at the GSRC without the kind support of all of the companies running across the bottom of your screen. And they are Trophi.AI, Sprayton non-alcoholic cider, waste options, merge at TGSRC, Flash Graphics, Orbic Australia, and Bowens. If you fancy staying cool or staying warm this winter, then do head over to the GSRC merchandise store. We've got all sorts of apparel. We've got apparel with our latest sponsors on it. You can also host your team's apparel via the merchandise store, which is a really good way to get some kit for you and your racing comrades. So do get involved and head to race.tgsrci.com to get all of your merch. With that done, all that's left is for us to say a very big thank you for watching the stream. It's a pleasure bringing you the stream as always. We will see you next week when we have the Supercars live from Watkins Glen, and they follow the ARCAs from Homestead, Miami. Until then, best of luck with all of your racing, and we will see you soon.